The champs are back in the playoffs, and they kick things off at home. Tom Brady and the Bucks against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. The best passing offense against the best rushing offense. A rematch at Raymond James. And in Arlington, it's been a while since this matchup meant this much. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys back where they're always expected to be. But the draw is dangerous, though. The Niners are hot and healthy. And at Arrowhead, the Steelers aren't here for fun. They're here for the upset. A huge task for Big Ben in his last hurrah. Patrick Mahomes has the Chiefs rolling as they start their run at reaching 3 straight Super Bowls. Super Wildcard Weekend continues, and it's time to get you ready. Postseason NFL Countdown from NYC starts right now.
We ready. We ready.
So would you sacrifice it to win?
We ready.
Believe in each other, trust each other, play for each other.
Oh, yeah.
The cameras are a little brighter.
Nothing matters except winning this week.
You lose, you go home.
We come in their house, we take what they got. Let's go!
How about them Cowboys?
If we look back about how good those teams were, boy, were the games close.
Those games I still remember.
It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a war.
Let's go! Don't leave nothing on the field.
Probably aren't supposed to be here. We're probably not a very good football team.
Every single play except the challenge. Let's go out there and make the play.
We don't have a chance. So let's just go in and play and have fun.
Sit back, grab your popcorn.
Let's put on a show.
Welcome to Postseason NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
We're all just here to have fun. 2 yesterday, 3 today. The NFC gets us started early with the Bucks hosting the Eagles in Tampa. Then the Niners and Cowboys face off in Texas. And tonight, Ben Roethlisberger's Steelers head to KC to face Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. This is going to get interesting as we say hello from day 2 of the wild card round. I'm Sam Ponder with Randy Moss, Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi, and Matthew Hasselbeck.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm just sitting here waiting for you to say something about the hoodie. I've already heard it like 10
Get it, Randy.
times.
Get it.
Just get it out now.
I
Get
really
it out
want to
now.
know.
Casual Sunday.
If you can wear a hoodie, that means I can have a Nike sweatsuit
No,
on
you
next
know what
week?
this is? This is Belichick formal, okay? This is the last time I get to wear it. We're going to see him next year.
Cut the sleeves off.
We will, okay, maybe later for the second part of the show. Speaking of Belichick, let's talk about what happened with his team last night. In case you missed it, it was frigid in Buffalo. And this is cold for anybody. I don't care if you're New England or a Buffalo Bills fan, although they didn't really seem to mind it in Buffalo. I mean, everybody came out for this
was
one.
strong.
Yes, they were. 2 minutes into the game, and Josh Allen figured, you know what, I might as well warm up. It's cold out here. Let me get a little run in here, and he takes it 26 yards into Patriots territory, and that was just the beginning. Same drive, Teddy, 2nd and goal. Plenty of time here, right? But he can't find anybody open, thinks maybe I'll just throw it away.
Plenty of time. That's an understatement right there. That's about 9-10 seconds right there. I mean, this is technically a throwaway. Josh said it himself, so you know things are going well when you mean to throw it away and still catch it. But this whole entire drive, this first drive, what Josh Allen did, running with his arm, staying alive, spectacular game by this all-star quarterback.
A lot of Mississippi's there.
Yes, it was. So Mac Jones gets his turn. He throws it into the end zone. You're thinking this is a touchdown, right? Nope. There was some sort of magic trick there for Micah Hyde, Randy.
One thing about it, man, you got a first team and a second team all-pro back there, and you're going to throw and lob one of them rainbow balls up there? Arm strength was a question, but the wide receiver could have broke that up, though, Sam.
Then Rex, he finds his guy, Dawson Knox, in the end zone.
Yeah, you know what, Sam? That's my homeboy from Brentwood, Tennessee.
Yeah,
making his 2nd touchdown catch. Way to represent, kid. Dawson Knox.
And he did that all night long. Let's go to the second quarter. Bills are up 14-0, and Allen shows, well, we can get it done on the ground, too. Hands it to Devin Singletary. He takes it in for the touchdown. The PAT was blocked, though, so the Bills are up 20-0. Later in the second quarter, same score on their own 30, and he goes deep to his go-to guy, and that's Stephon Diggs, a 45-yard gain, man.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers. Yesterday said one of the best route runners in the NFL. They matched him up against the #1 quarter. Stephon Diggs definitely won that matchup yesterday.
And then we get in the red zone, gives it back to Singletary. I mean, they got it done in every way, and they could not stop them really throughout the entire game. Kind of kept waiting for the Patriots to catch up. It didn't happen. In the third quarter, Mac Jones goes to Hunter Henry, thinking this is going to work.
Them NFL linebackers, they get under them throwing lanes like we showed in film wall yesterday. There goes Matt Milano making a play.
He should have been watching.
Nothing was working for the Patriots. Everything was working for the Bills. This one to Emmanuel Sanders, and the Bills would go up 33-3. Let's go to the fourth.
Anybody else, Sam?
I mean, let's just, anybody you want to add in here, might as well. How about an O-lineman? Yeah, that would be Tommy Doyle. At this point, they're just messing with them.
Miami of Ohio, Tommy Doyle.
And that would seal the deal. The Bills would win 47-17. No punts, no field goals, no turnovers, no sacks, absolutely no problems for the Buffalo Bills last night. A completely dominating performance. Wow. Here's Josh Allen after a near perfect game.
It feels good for the fans, and I know that, and I'm glad we could give that to them. But at the end of the day, it's a playoff game that we advanced on, and doesn't matter what we did this week or last week or the week before. What matters is what we do going forward.
Congratulate Buffalo on win tonight. Obviously, they did a great job, and we just couldn't keep up with them tonight. So certainly deserved to win. Well coached, team executed well, and we just couldn't do much anything.
I felt like a lot of people on this team noticed that, throughout the year, there was a lot of disrespect coming towards our defense. And so we felt like the only way to shut people up is to go out there and play football and let you guys sit and watch and talk, And that's what we're doing right now, playing football.
Well, all right then. He had some strong feelings, and they showed it on the field last night. It's been an interesting season for the Bills because at times it felt confusing trying to figure out who they were and if it was going to be enough to make a playoff run. Matt, after what you saw last night, how have your feelings about the Bills changed?
Well, I think the people had those feelings because week one, they got embarrassed at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a lot of people picked them as their Super Bowl team. Last night, they looked like a Super Bowl team. Their points differential on the year was up over 200 points. They could do nothing wrong last night. And to me, that performance that Josh Allen had was so incredible. 5 touchdowns, more touchdown passes than he threw incompletions, and it wasn't just his arm like we started off the highlight with. He ran 6 times for 66 yards. So to me, you want to talk about a team getting hot at the right time and putting it together on offense and defense, it's got to be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it was hard to watch my former team take a beat down of epic proportions. Okay, I mean, I can't underestimate that. I mean, look at this. I mean, here are the drives, here are the results.
Crazy.
You never stopped them. I mean, I haven't seen a game like this, fellas. I don't know. Have you ever seen a game where every drive is a touchdown?
Wow.
And that is very
Warner.
That is that is embarrassing.
14-year-olds playing against 13-year-olds.
Defender for the Patriots to watch that right there. The Patriots have their problems, okay? They'll fix them in the offseason. Mac was a rookie, solid season, but this is about the Buffalo Bills, okay? How good they looked. And I see what Hughes is talking about. He's manufacturing a little motivation about the disrespect thing, and I love it. But that defense is legit. Moss, you talk about Hyde and Poyer, Milano underneath. It's a great defense that can take this team all the way.
It is a great defense. And you know what? Jerry Hughes, though, I think you guys are missing it. This is directed at Jerry Sullivan, the guy that came in and was ripping the safeties and all that kind of stuff. And it's deep. Jerry Hughes has probably been there for 10 years and always felt the disrespect. And now he's like, okay, now what are you going to say? So it's been there deep. And the way this team is playing, look, they're #1 in the NFL in defense. All right. So, I mean, and they have this great offense. It's about them right now. And are they the favorites right now to win the thing? Yeah. They had the only thing they had to prove to me was that they could stop the run. And you knew New England was going to come in committed to pounding the football. Why? Because in the season we saw New England run it, the Colts run it, and Tennessee run it. All 3 losses for the Bills. That's the only thing they had to prove, and they proved it last night.
Yeah, it was also good to see them run the ball offensively, like to see Devin Singletary become a major factor in the offense, because quite honestly, that was a missing piece for a good part of the season as well.
And I think that was the biggest question for me, because everybody knew the run designs to Josh Allen. We wanted to see somebody other than Josh Allen run this ball. 174 yards against Belichick's defense. Tackling was a problem last night. You've seen Singletary jumping in and out of holes. That was impressive. Yesterday, we talked about the playmakers for the Patriots stepping up. No sacks, no interceptions yesterday. So you say, yes, rightfully so. It is all about the Bills. But, hey, one last thing. We've all sat in the hotel, you know, playing the next day after. I believe the Buffalo Bills did set the bar. They set the standard for the playoffs. Week 1 of the playoffs, they set the bar. Everybody else looking at them like, uh-oh, they just put up 40-something points on the Patriots. So, you know, it was a good game yesterday, but like I say, kudos to what Josh Allen was able to do. But if there was something that stood out to me, 174 yards on the ground, and all of it was not by Josh Allen.
They closed the book on this whole Patriot mind game thing, too. I mean, this was a playoff win, but this is over the AFC East rival in the Patriots. This is like, oh, yeah, you needed an act of Mother Nature, okay, to beat us. That's what we're saying. We went and beat you in your house, and now we beat you when it meant most. We ended your season, and all of these questions now are swirling in that building in Gillette Stadium in terms of we have to draft now, and we have to approach this offseason thinking, how do we beat that team?
How do we
beat that team?
And Josh Allen, because 9 touchdowns, no interceptions for the year for Josh Allen against Belichick and the Patriots. Well done. Very well.
Well, what they did yesterday, that's a one-time thing, right? I don't know how you replicate that going forward. To your point of setting the standard for the playoffs, they might have set the standard a little too high for themselves.
Momentum going into another week.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
That is some strong momentum. Now the question is, who do they play? Let's take a look at the AFC divisional matchups. They're almost set. If the Chiefs win tonight, the Bills would be heading to Kansas City next weekend, and the top-seeded Titans would host the Bengals. But if the Steelers pull off the upset, Pittsburgh travels to Tennessee, and the Bills play at home against the Bengals. Time now to bring in our insiders, Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter, for more on today's AFC matchup. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Sam. And this is the game the Steelers didn't think they would have last week that they get tonight in Kansas City with reinforcements. Juju Smith-Schuster activated off injured reserve despite the shoulder injury that had him on the list. He is expected to play, and Najee Harris was removed from the injury report yesterday. He will play tonight against Kansas City. The Steelers need both players, and I think part of the reason that Juju Smith is coming back tonight is that he wants to be a part of Ben Roethlisberger's last postseason run.
Well, for the Cowboys, here comes Deebo Samuel on the 49ers, but also coming back is Micah Parsons and Tyron Smith off the COVID reserve list, so they are available to go against the 49ers. And Parsons himself athletically wants to be able to have some matchups there with Deebo. And as far as the running game goes, they get back Tony Pollard, who missed Week 18 from that foot injury. They expect him to be ready to go, full participant in all 3 practices.
And Mort, that was the game in which the Eagles rested some of their players, but they get back Jalen Hurts today, resting that sprained ankle against the Dallas Cowboys. They get back Miles Sanders, the running back, so the Eagles should be relatively healthy going to Tampa. The Buccaneers will not have Leonard Fournette. They will rely on the rookie running back Keyshawn Vaughn, Giovanni Bernard, who they activated off injured reserve, and the old name Le'Veon Bell. So a different kind of running back look in Tampa today. For more on that game, let's send it to Sal Pal in Tampa.
Adam, this is how you kick off Super Wild Card Sunday here on Sunday NFL Countdown, Raymond James Stadium. I found some Eagles fans, not just any Eagles fans. Dallas Goedert's mother and sister and family are here, and everybody is ready for the Eagles at Bucks. Where else would you rather be? Back to you guys.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Rex, you got to teach them your Run Eagles Run song for next time. It's going to be fun down in Tampa. Yeah, that's true. Time now to get to our opening kicks what you're most excited to see today, Matt.
Okay, listen, those Patriots fans, what are they going to do now in the playoffs? Well, I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to root for Tom Brady and the Bucs.
Yes,
okay?
they are.
But who is he going to throw to with everybody out, all these injuries? You know who it's going to be. It's going to be Rob Gronkowski, the go-to guy. He's got some young receivers that might pop up, but it's going to be Gronk in critical situations. Then the other guy I expect for him to rely on is Cam Brate, the other tight end, number 84, the Harvard man, looking for that security blanket, using the tight ends. The Eagles struggle covering tight ends. Check for that today.
All right, do the Steelers have a chance versus Kansas City? We will see, but Travis Kelce is back. He didn't play in the first matchup. He is there. If the Steelers try to take away the deep shots to Hill, Kelce will be there underneath. They're going to have to tackle him. Mahomes is going to find him, and if the Steelers have any chance, it's got to be this guy. T.J. Watt had the ribs, the sore ribs, cracked ribs, whatever it was that slowed him down in the last matchup. He has to be an impact player if they have a chance.
Man, game of the day. 49ers coming into Jerry's house. Last week, I know y'all seen that 17-0 performance. Man, Jimmy G brought his team back, nursing a sore thumb on his throwing hair. Well, guess what, Jimmy G? Are you bringing that confidence to Jerry's world? Are you bringing Coach Shanahan's sophisticated offense? You got Gregory, you got Parsons, you got Lawrence. They coming for you. Are you gonna get that ball to your playmakers? I cannot wait to see it, Rex. Game of the day.
I agree. It's the game of the day, and that offense better be rolling for the Niners. Why? Because Dak Prescott, I think this is a day that he's going to be surgical against this 49er defense. He is going to carve them up. 1, 2, they're a simple defense. Dak, it's easy. 1, 2, 3, run. Use your legs if you have to, my friend. It's the biggest opportunity for you that you've had. This team can advance far, but it's going to be on your back.
And in Tampa, it's on his back, but he's used to this. Tom Brady has 34 playoff wins in his career. That's 18 more than any other QB. The QB he's up against today, Jalen Hurts, just 23 years old, will become the Eagles' youngest starting QB in playoff history. Can he get it done on the road?
Wake up. Wake up. This is NFL Countdown.
Coming up, get your popcorn ready. Before the Niners and Cowboys kick it off, we're taking you back to their most memorable moments and telling you why Dak Prescott loves the pressure of the playoffs.
I don't know necessarily why people have labeled the word pressure as such a bad thing, honestly. One thing that you can't replicate is playoff football.
Plus, before Tom Brady and the Eagles renew their rivalry, the GOAT takes you inside the Super Bowl moment he'd love to have back against Philly.
And he literally throws perfect ball. I reach out, just as I reach out, catch it. I don't doubt him, you know.
And a special edition of
You got Moss.
You got Moss.
It's Most Madness. We're breaking out the brackets to crown the best catch from the entire season. But first, we're reliving wild Week 18 that punched Spurs ticket to the playoffs before they face Patrick Mahomes tonight.
I wish I would have went to bed instead of staying and watching the dress.
All that and more coming up.
This is NFL.
This is NFL Countdown.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Postseason NFL Countdown is presented by Snickers. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
Like every great story worth turning into film, this one is going to grab you and not let go. This season has had it all. Stars, adversity, and yes, the turn of GOAT. Today, the big man on his fight ride rolls into the kingdom. Will this final act play out accordingly for the black and gold?
If it is indeed my last game there, it's going to be one of the most important games of my career.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh! Third straight trip to Super Bowl begins here. Showtime Mahomes shines bright.
Patrick Mahomes with Mahomes magic.
They need help. By good scenes settle in, you know the plot is going to twist.
Two of the AFC's most storied franchises, Steelers and Chiefs in KC tonight. The tarp is out. Patrick Mahomes has never lost to Pittsburgh, never even thrown a pick against them. But let's be fair, he's only played them twice. One of those times was just 3 weeks ago at Arrowhead. It was all Chiefs, with Kansas City winning 36-10. Mahomes had 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, despite not having Travis Kelce. Based on the spread, it could be a similar story tonight. Steelers are 12-point underdogs. Ben knows the odds are against him.
I would assume as a group you understand, we probably aren't supposed to be. We're probably not a very good football team. We're out of 14 teams I think are in, we're number 14. We're double the underdog playoffs. So let's just go and have fun as it happens.
I like the attitude. He's just there to have fun. And so is our Kimberly Martin out there in the cold this morning. Good morning, Kimberly. What's the latest?
Good morning. Before we start talking about the game, first, Sam, Juju Smith-Schuster. I have to say that slowly because my face is frozen. He is back. He returned to practice 3 months after having shoulder surgery, Smith-Schuster shoulder. So he's back. That's incredible that he's back this quickly. He was officially activated to the 53-man roster yesterday. We will see in 8 hours or so what he's able to do on the field, but his presence at practice alone, so guys say it's energized them. Najee Harris said he's an amazing player, and to see him on the field, on the practice field, after all this time, it's been great for this team. Now, for the rematch, the Steelers, Sam, they know no one outside of Pittsburgh thinks they have a chance today, and that's okay, because Mike Tomlin's message has always been consistent. It's whatever the adversity is, we smile in the face of it. We just keep fighting, that's what we need to do. But this week, the message was a little punctuated. He said, look, everybody's talking about how we can't do this, but let's go out there and shock the world.
Good stuff, Kimberly, and shout out to all the reporters across the country in the cold trying to speak. That is a difficult thing. Look, everybody knows this is obviously an unbalanced game on paper, Rex, but if the Steelers do have a chance, how?
Well, first off, this is going to absolutely sound crazy, and I get that. And coming from me, everybody expects crazy, but it always ends up being the truth. But that's another thing. Go ahead, pat myself on the back. But I'll say this, and here's why it's a chance and why the matchup, I think, is decent. Every single team in the National Football League can run the ball against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They're horrendous on defense, all right, stopping the run. Except the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, I'm sorry, they don't run the ball. So that's in your favor. So now you're going to get the ball. They're going to throw it. We can make a mistake. I know Mahomes hadn't. He's played them twice, no interceptions. That's the chance that you have. You can rush the passer with Watt and Hayward, and company. And we got to create turnovers. That's how you're going to do it. How can you steal a game? You can steal it by forcing turnovers and by running the football, okay? And taking shots on play action. Ben can do that. So that's the way that this team can steal this game.
Morton and Adam started the show off talking about injuries, and they talked about rookie running back Najee Harris, being questionable, but he is up for this game. And speaking of run, I just want to talk about as of lately. Let me show you some old film from the Kansas City Chiefs defense of trying to tackle. And when I talk about old film, I want y'all to stay with me for a minute. Right there, running back for the Denver Broncos, Melvin Gordon. Look at all these missed tackles. This is an old film, Rex, but they are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Right here, next play, I want you to look at the tackling being a problem for the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe an Achilles heel right there again. Melvin Gordon from the Broncos. Look how struggling. I told you how old this film was, right?
Well, last week.
There you go. That's how old this film is. Okay, then. So, as of their last meeting, Najee Harris, he had 93 yards, 19 carries, and Adam and Morton's talking about he is up this week. So, Sam, you asked the question, how are the Pittsburgh Steelers able to pull this off? I just showed you a film as of lately. Tackling, running the ball on the Chiefs defense could be a problem. Pittsburgh Steelers don't rely on Big Ben to do it. You got a good running back in your rookie also.
Yeah. Anything you can do to keep this one close. Because I tell you, Ben Roethlisberger in the fourth quarter and overtime is actually not a bad quarterback. 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, there's a lot of things you got to do. I mean, can you replicate what the Broncos did last week? I mean, you've got to feel encouraged. I don't know how motivated that Chiefs defense was, last week. I mean, against that, stopping that run. But still, you have to actually make it close, keep it close. If it comes to a fourth quarter game, 5 minutes left, then you got a chance.
Yeah, and they're 12-point underdogs, and this is still human nature. These are humans playing this, and so if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you've already played the Steelers, and it was a beatdown. So, whether you want to admit it or not, in your head, you're kind of like, we've played these guys. We're so much better than these guys. Who are we playing next? You can say you're not looking past them, but you're human. And I think for the Steelers, there's an intangible. We call it Wild Card Weekend for a reason. Wild things happen.
Right.
And I remember Pete Carroll's first year in Seattle. We're 7-9. We win the division. We get to host a playoff game. And we're hosting the world champion New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton, Drew Brees. They got to come out there, and what'd the whole world say? You guys don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Right. The Saints shouldn't have to come all the way out to Seattle. And Pete Carroll used that. It was like, we're not 7-9. We're 0-0. And they're 0-0. And everyone else is 0-0. Like, we start fresh. And so, was it crazy talk? Yeah. Did we believe it? Yeah. And we went out and beat them. And so I think that kind of talk, that kind of mindset, leadership from Mike Tomlin, leadership from Ben Roethlisberger, something crazy could happen.
Do you believe, just by watching Big Ben for all these years, just hearing him talking about, hey, man, we're just going to go out here and have fun, does that show you that he's relaxed but also honed in at the same time? Because we've talked about Ben over the last couple of weeks, and I have seen a pickup in his performance. What do you take from that soundbite, man?
100%. They got nothing to lose. So any fun plays, creative trick plays, fake punts, why not? Like, go out with a bang. He already had the send-off of all send-offs at Heinz Field. Then he had a send-off of all send-offs at Baltimore. Just to go do it again. Cut it loose. Have fun. I don't know that I'll pick them, but to think that this upset isn't possible, it's certainly possible.
Yeah, that's why I like the sound from Ben, because it was sarcastic, but also kind of true. And I think for everybody, the scariest people in life are the people who have nothing to lose.
Oh,
and
yes.
the Steelers today don't. I don't know if any of y'all, after just pumping them up the last few minutes, are actually going to pick them. We'll find out later in the show about that. Oh, okay. All right, let's leave a little there for people to come back and find out later. Maybe Randy. We'll send it over to Adam now. What's coming up, Adam?
All right, Sam, coming up on Countdown, before Jalen Hurts starts his first career playoff game against Tom Brady, we'll have the latest on both quarterbacks' futures. Plus, Sal Pal's going one-on-one with Nick Sirianni as he arrives at Raymond James Stadium. And the Bengals ended a 30-year playoff drought with their last win last night over the Raiders. We're breaking it down and telling you why Joe Burrow's not so crazy.
It's exciting, but this was expected. This isn't like the icing on top of the cake or anything. This is the cake.
Pre-Game HQ is brought to you by Domino's. Order something for everyone with Domino's Mix and Match menu. Order online and track your order.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
So there's no shying away from this. We know who we're playing.
This is a team game, there's no question. But at the same time, I know that when quarterback play good, you got a better chance to win the game, absolutely.
I've said time and time again, we don't care what people believe about us outside of walls, whether they think's good or not.
So I'm going to clean my house. I'm going to rest. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to relax. That's what I'm getting out of this week.
Sounds like a nice little weekend, Aaron. All right, let's get back to Tampa. Tom Brady checking things out. Last time he played the Eagles, that was week 6. Completed a season-high 81% of his passes in that win. Can he do it again with no AB, no Chris Godwin, or no Leonard Fournette? Here's Sal Pal with the coach trying to slow him down.
Nick, great to see you here in Tampa.
Good beer.
Yeah, Jalen and you, obviously, in your first playoff game together. What did you share? What did you focus on to get ready for this football game?
We talked a lot about, as a team, how much the fundamentals and assignment goes in. The fundamentals and assignment go into this game. And that's the thing that we talk about all year. And Jason Kelce actually said it early in the week, and it was that fundamentals and assignment, they get amplified even more in a game like this, in a playoff game. And so that's what we just talked about all week, is knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and that's assignment and fundamentals. And so we just stuck to the process that we've been doing for the last 18 weeks and continue that on here.
Last night, what were your final coaching points to your football team on how to beat Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champs?
Yeah, both Jalen and I both talked to the team last night. My final coaching points were, when you get knocked up, just keep getting back up. Keep getting back up over and over and over again. When you do something good, keep getting back up and going again. We actually showed the Rocky clip of him and Apollo Creed fighting in the first one when Creed knocks down Rocky, and he gets back up, and it's deflating to Creed. And then Jalen really talked about just being confident, and we should be confident as a football team, and overcoming anything that goes on and pressing on.
Just win, right? That's what the words of wisdom were to Rocky.
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick. Back to you.
A loose Nick Sirianni with the
You're talking Rocky now, huh?
And
Rocky Apollo Creed.
I was just going to say, he's got the Manning quarter zip on. He's looking good and relaxed on the road. More on that game coming up. For now, let's go back to Cincinnati. This is from yesterday afternoon.
Let's go.
So much fun in this one in the AFC between the Raiders and the Bengals.
Go ahead, Icky.
That's the great Icky Woods trying to give them some good luck before the game, and he did just that. We start in the first quarter. Bengals trailing by 3, and Joe Burrow goes to C.J. Uzomah for the first touchdown of the game.
Oh, he
did it well.
And he followed it up with the gritty after that. Let's go to the second quarter, 3rd and 4 from the Raiders 10, and Burrow's looking for a little help. He finds it in Tyler Boyd. So no problem, right? That's a touchdown. Wrong. There's a little confusion here. First, you're thinking maybe he stepped out. Joe's saying he got the touchdown because he was in, right? Yes, perfect. The problem is more of an audio issue because the official blew the whistle before the ball was caught, but it would remain a touchdown, and the game would roll on. More on that later in the show. 19 seconds to go, and Randy, Derek Carr to Zay Jones.
This was beautiful right before the half because what they just gave the Cincinnati Bengals the drive before, but great hand-eye coordination, great catch, great play by the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, so this is the ball game. Raiders have the ball down 26-19, 2nd and 10, but right here, couldn't get rid of it. Derek Carr sacked by B.J. Hill. But they're going to go. He's going to hurry it up. 3rd and 17. You think they got no chance here, right? Trouble. Nope. He finds Darren Waller for 23 yards, Teddy.
Yeah, and this has been the Raiders, right? We don't care what it is. 3rd and 17, 3rd and 20. Be aggressive. Derek Carr down the field. Great ball, great catch right there. Conversion.
And then once again, Carr goes back to Zay Jones. Another first down. 10 seconds expire before he spikes it. Then he fires to Jones. That would be incomplete. Jesse Bates, the third, breaks up the pass.
Yeah,
and then
Bates made some good plays all game.
Bates was all over.
By Bates.
He did. 3rd and goal. He's looking for anybody. He finds his guy, Hunter Renfrow, but it's incomplete.
Man, you wish they could come up with a play there. They had a couple opportunities there at the end of the game. That's the one they're going to be thinking about all offseason.
Then he tries to find Jones again. This one is intercepted.
Go ahead, Jermaine Pratt. This guy's made plays for him all year, this backer. Logan Wilson went down. He stepped up, always about the ball disruption. Jermaine Pratt makes the big play.
And Burrow would take a knee to end this one. The Bengals would end this first postseason game. I mean, guys, it's been 31 years since they won a game in the postseason. They finished this one 26-19. Let's hear from their head coach, Zach Taylor, after the big win.
If we feel like we're on top of our game, we can beat any team in this league. We're not afraid of anybody. This team's got a ton of confidence. We always know it's going to be difficult. Whoever we play next, it's going to be a great team. But our guys don't worry about that. We feel like we can put pressure on teams as well. We can be aggressive. Teams have to worry about us.
I'm really like that every game. It don't matter who is across from me. You know, I got that dog mentality. It's either be stopped or not be stopped. So, I don't think I can be stopped.
I mean, it's exciting, but this was expected. This isn't like the icing on top of the cake or anything. This is the cake.
I am loving this confidence
this Burrow kid.
from the Bengals right now, because they're taking that act like you've been there approach even when they haven't been there. And it's an interesting approach going into the playoffs. There's so much confidence behind this team right now, Matt. What, if anything, do you think holds these guys back?
I don't know if anything holds them back. I mean, maybe injury to one of the key guys. You saw Hendrickson go out last night with concussion.
Ogunjobi went down.
Right, so we don't know the status going forward health-wise. But offensively, if you're talking about the skill group, you're talking about wide receiver, running back, tight end, and a star quarterback who fears nothing. These guys on offense are offensive. A lot of times offenses will sit back and say, what are you going to do defensively? Then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. That's not the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, 3rd and 1, we're going to go empty. We're going to throw it downfield to Tyler Boyd. Oh, 4th and 1, we're going to go in shotgun, shift to underneath, pretend we're going to do a quarterback sneak. Here comes Jamar Chase. We're going to flip it out to him. He's playing running back like he's Deebo Samuel. There's nothing this offense can't do. And I think this offense is setting the tone for the whole rest of the team. And Joe Burrow, honestly, he makes hard things look easy.
These players are so young, too. They don't understand the magnitude of what they just did for this city, for this organization. I mean, Taylor, the head coach, is talking about giving game balls to the owner, giving game balls to the city of Cincinnati, because it's been so long. And then you got Burrow talking about, this ain't the icing on the cake, man. This is nothing. We want to keep going there. Burrow talked about watching the last drive of the Raiders when they were going into tie. And what he said was this. He said, well, I wanted them to score so I could get the ball back. Are you kidding me? I mean, he's not saying, oh, I was hoping my defense could make a play. He's already thinking about, give me the ball, I'll take it and score. This mentality from this young player, I mean, from Chase, all of it, this team is ready to take this and go further places, not just break this streak.
Everybody's talking about the weapons, the guys with the faces, the quarterbacks, the weapons and Chase mixing back there. But, Brew, you was just sitting here giving the love to the defense with Bass, Payne. What'd you say the defense coordinator?
Lou Anarumo.
Man, you got to give a shout out to the defense because of all the accolades that the offense is getting. But you're talking about late in the game, the way the Las Vegas Raiders got to this point. They're driving down. They scored right before the half. So they kind of got momentum going a little bit. The Cincinnati Bengals shut the Las Vegas Raider out. So you have to, I know it's a team sport. You have to give kudos to them because they stepped up in the biggest moment, and that was shut out that offense.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. It is about one man. It's about the quarterback. And this is, to me, that you want to see the next Tom Brady, you're looking at him right here. Look at him. Now, the only thing, he's wearing those glasses. I don't think Tom would have worn those. But this is Joe Cool. And anybody, you know what? It's not too big for him. The Bengals haven't been there. This kid has. He won a national championship, won the Heisman Trophy, a great draft pick from them for a local kid. He could care less who he plays. And to me, that's Tom Brady. I've seen it for years. And get ready, guys. You're going to see it for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I loved him post-game when they were asking about celebrating. And he was like, we don't we celebrate winning the division, and we'll celebrate if we win the Super Bowl. We're not celebrating right now. And all right. They have higher hopes right there. I will say the controversy of the game, of course, we talked about that whistle on that touchdown play. For more on this, let's go into the Domino's pregame headquarters. Guys, what's the fallout from that call?
Well, Sam, Jerome Boger and the officiating crew that worked Saturday's wild card game in Cincinnati are not expected to work again this postseason. They've been eliminated from the playoffs essentially before the game began, and essentially you get officials from the wild card round get graded. And typically the NFL chooses the officials in the divisional playoff round for the Super Bowl. But if the official presses during the wild card round, they can have a grade that goes up. Well, clearly Jerome Boger and the officials that worked yesterday are not going to receive high grades, which essentially ends their playoff run just like the Las Vegas Raiders. And speaking of the Las Vegas Raiders, now that their season is over, they are expected to commence their search for their next head coach. Rich Bisaccia did a tremendous job with that team, overcoming all the adversity that they did, but it will not stop Raiders owner Mark Davis now from looking to see who his options are to potentially succeed Rich Bisaccia as the next head coach of the Raiders. It'll be a big search, but I think most people around the league don't believe that Bisaccia will wind up as the man.
And for the Buffalo Bills, coordinators, Brian Daboll on offense and Leslie Frazier defense, you think they put an exclamation point on their resumes last night against the Patriots? Absolutely. The Dolphins will be in Buffalo, be in person with both coordinators. The Bears meet virtually with Daboll. They pushed back their virtual meetings, Frazier, a little bit later this week. And then, been a lot of smoke and speculation about the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll, the head coach, GM John Schneider, met with the owner, Jody Allen, on Thursday. I was told by a well-placed source, there's nothing to see here. They talked about the past season, they talked about the future, and all systems are go with Carroll, Schneider, and yes, even quarterback Russell Wilson, who has 2 years left on his contract, Sam, and we'll certainly have speculation during the offseason, but I was told all systems go with those three people, Carroll, Schneider, and Russell Wilson.
All right, good to know. Thanks, guys. Still to come on Countdown, it's about time where you've got Moss. Randy reveals his bracket for Moss Madness. He's asking for your help to determine who made the best catch of the whole season. And the classic rivalry returns today as the Cowboys face off with the 49ers. Mike Parsons has been a walking soundbite all season. Hear his message to his team this week.
Hey, I was from Harrisburg, where the bullies get bullied. I ain't never back down from the challenge.
I might never come down. I might never come down.
The postseason NFL Countdown presented by Snickers.
We will win the ball game.
Smith carries it in. How about the Cowboys?
And the Cowboy two-year reign is coming to an end.
Moments like this are what your career is. Remember that is where you leave your legacy.
We know we have a chance to do something special. You don't get that opportunity every year.
It's going to be a dog fight. It's going to be a war.
In Arlington, the 8th playoff meeting between Cowboys and Niners. The first at AT&T Stadium. San Francisco finished the regular season strong, going 7-2 in their last 9 after starting 3-5, but they've got their work cut out for them today. The Cowboys put up a ton of points this season. Dallas averaged more than 31 points per game. That's the most in the entire league during the regular season. And it wasn't just the offense either. The Cowboys scored 9 defensive and special teams touchdowns. That's also the most in the NFL. And 22 different Cowboys scored touchdowns this year. That was the most for any team in a season in NFL history. And that is why there's so much pressure on this group, because they certainly have the talent. Our Ed Werder knows all about it, and he's live in Arlington with the very latest. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Sam. You know, Dak Prescott is the first quarterback in Cowboys history to take a 500-point offense into the playoffs, and he has a defense that gives him extra possessions when it's not scoring on its own. That's why when the franchise quarterback asked head coach Mike McCarthy what he wanted from him this week, McCarthy said to him, "Be yourself, don't try to do too much." Prescott seems comfortable entering his 4th playoff game, and first with McCarthy, Prescott embracing the pressure of high expectations, vowing to play the game he loves, he said, without hesitation. Teammate DeMarcus Lawrence said he expects Prescott is going to own the moment, show everybody what he's all about, and take these playoffs by storm. 2 things I've learned speaking with coaches: the Cowboys believe that they can exploit the San Francisco secondary if they can pass protect effectively. And Dan Quinn's defense had its best practices in a very long time. The emphasis on takeaways and tackling. Quinn expects their energy and speed to be on point. And Sam, Quinn told me that Kyle Shanahan uses the versatility of wide receiver Deebo Samuel in the same unpredictable manner the Cowboys use linebacker Micah Parsons, saying he's not always where he's supposed to be.
Thanks, Ed. Teddy, you know, as a fan, trying to follow Micah Parsons on the screen when I'm watching is challenging enough. What makes this guy so hard to find out there?
Like Ed said, you have to find him first, and football strategy is somewhat like chess, and the most impactful piece on the board for chess, in the game of chess, is the queen. The queen piece, and I say Micah Parsons is like the queen on a chessboard, and that's how Dan Quinn has used him. You see Micah Parsons, he's trying his chess game right here. I think he is putting checkmate right there, but we won't talk about that, okay? Because he is putting people in checkmate on the football field. Where's the queen? There he is, off the line of scrimmage right here, playing off the ball linebacker. Here he comes and makes a great play on the screen pass. He's been so many different places, Sam, to line up on off the ball, on the ball. Let's find him over here, right outside linebacker. Oh, he's just rushing the passer, right? No, he can also play the run, takes on a lineman, pulling lineman, and makes a tackle for loss in the backfield. He's just been all over the place. Probably the defensive rookie, actually definitely going to be defensive rookie of the year. Outside linebacker, left side versus the pass, the speed, the closing speed to get Patrick Mahomes and force the fumble. And this is what's most impressive. Coverage, line him out, take your queen, put him out there in coverage. Powerful piece, impactful impactful player, reads the pick route right here, and is still able to make a play on the ball. He's just done so many things. The queen of the chessboard does so many things. He's that versatile.
Hey, that's really good. And I know you love chess. I love chess too, and I don't know if you know this. I think you do. I was on the chess team when I was at Bavarian Brothers High School, winning championships.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
That's right.
40? What is this
93 probably. Listen, the San Francisco 49ers, they got their own queen, and he's on offense, and his name is Deebo Samuel. Like the queen, he can do it all. One of the best receivers in the game. Fearless, over the middle. Some guys, some receivers, they go down right there. He gets the ball in his hands, he explodes. He is at his best with the ball in his hands. So Shanahan and company, what do? They say, hey, listen, let's just get the ball in his hands, maybe get some blockers out in front. This is essentially, Jimmy G, kind of like a running play. Wait a second, running play? Maybe we could put him at running back. Maybe we can come up with like a little small package of plays for him against, here it is, snug receivers, tight end on the right, up back, about to be quick motion and shotgun, and we're gonna run a nice little run to the right. The Rams don't know what to do. This run's supposed to go to the right. It cuts back to the left. Corners, we need you to tackle. You see Deebo, the queen, in the running back position, snug formation, tight end on the right, up back, about to be in quick motion before the shotgun snap. If you see Deebo in that situation, corners, we got to get up there. Help us out. It's a run.
Now
wait a sec. Okay. He's a queen. He can do it all. He can go anywhere. Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners in the game, has his eyes in the backfield. So you say check, I say checkmate. And Teddy is better than me at chess, though. We have played. You're
such a one-upper. You are.
I just said you're better than me at chess.
That is fact. I love that he called himself a wide back this week. Maybe with the quarterback in there, too. We do quarter wide back. Either way, what he's doing is unprecedented. He became the first wide receiver since that 1970 merger to lead his team in rushing touchdowns. Crazy.
Wow.
Let's stay in the NFC. In Tampa, the Eagles and Bucks are facing off at Raymond James. Bucks were 7-1 at home this year. Brady led the league in completions, passing yards, and touchdowns. But today, he faces the top rushing team in the league.
Like every great story worth turning into film, this one's going to grab you and not let go. This season's had it all. Stars, adversity, and yes, the return of the GOAT. Today we have 3 games on the biggest stage. A young star auditioning against the man who wrote the script.
What faith like Jalen Hurts? Boy, did he make magic happen. Buck win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, you are the man. You are the GOAT.
An offense that's made any field their home. A defense ready to send them packing.
Touchdown! Touchdown! How about them Cowboys? Hey, why not do something special, boys? Right today!
San Francisco touchdown!
A storybook final act, or the action hero ready for showtime.
Touchdown! Let's go take care of our business. Have fun doing it. Oh, how did he pull it off? I'm a big fan. Hey, Lee.
Find a good seat settle in. You know this spot is going to waste.
Let's go to Tampa, where the action kicks off first today in the NFC. Our Jeff Darlington with more on the Bucks, and Sal Palantonio with more on the Eagles. Good morning, guys. Sal, what's the very latest on the Eagles?
Well, Sam, you just heard our one-on-one with Nick Sirianni. He said he had Jalen Hurts talk to the football team last night in the team hotel. I thought that was fascinating on 2 fronts. One, that he picked Jalen Hurts. After all, he had Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, Super Bowl 52 veterans, talk to the team in previous weeks. And this time he decided to have his young quarterback in his first playoff start talk to the football team. And then it was what Jalen Hurts said to the team. He said, we can be confident. We have to be confident in this football game to beat Tom Brady. And for a young quarterback to deliver this message to a veteran football team, I thought was very interesting. And Jalen Hurts this week talked about how this team, this Eagles team, revolutionized their offense. That was his words. Since they lost to the Bucks back in week 6, they revolutionized the offense to run the football, and it has really paid off. This team has been very good running the ball, 188 yards per game on the ground with RPOs and zone read offense, and it has just paid off in terms of points per game, around 28 points per game. And that's what this Bucs defense will face. Todd Bowles said, hey, Jalen Hurts is a quarterback who runs the ball like a halfback. Here's Jeff Darlington with those Bucs. Jeff?
Well, Sal, I've been walking these Bucs sidelines talking to different members of the organizations, and they all kind of have this same feeling that this feels like a Gronk game, that Rob Gronkowski could come out here and have a big one. We got a lot of gusts coming through here. The rain should be settled by kickoff, but this is also a team without their star 2 running backs. You got no Leonard Fournette, no Ronald Jones. So I'd expect to see Rob Gronkowski against an Eagles defense that has given up more yards and touchdowns to tight ends than any other team in the NFL. Also, watch out for Cameron Brate, another tight end for this Bucs team who could see some actions. A big day for Gronk, a big day for the tight end, guys.
Yeah, Jeff, Matt Hasselbeck in agreement on that over here. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, though. He makes his playoff debut today. He was the best running quarterback this entire season. He led QBs in rushing yards and touchdowns, joining Kyler Murray as the only quarterbacks to ever rush for 750 and 10 touchdowns in a season. Jalen caught up with Steve Young for his first playoff game.
Jalen Hurts through the air.
I know you're locked in for the playoffs. Your first kind of foray in the NFL postseason. Obviously, the goal Super Bowl, but you personally going into the playoffs, how are you looking at the playoffs for you?
For me, nothing changes. Nothing changes. And I actually got the opportunity to talk to Kurt Warner. He was like, man, just be yourself. Take it one day at a time like you always do and be yourself. And that's the one thing that I always try and do is be Jalen Hurts. It's always up.
Johnson.
Veteran O-line. I mean, that's the dream for quarterbacks, to have guys like that lead and can help you. Any kind of quick comments about your relationship developing with that veteran offensive line?
Well, one of the first guys when I got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, Lane Johnson, he reached out to me. I knew he was a hell of a player, but to see up close personal, and he used to play quarterback in high school, funny story, but the way he runs, how big he is, how strong he is, how bad he wants it, I got a lot of respect for him.
Is there any connection from the big games you had in college to getting ready for the playoffs? Some guys didn't have that experience like you had in college. How do you feel about being ready for the big stage in the NFL playoffs because of what you went through in college?
I definitely don't want to take the experiences I've had in college for granted, knowing that I've played in some of the big games of them all. That's very valuable for me. Take a step into playoffs, never get too high or too low, and trusting the people around you and trusting yourself and go out there and play ball.
I mean, no debate there. He's obviously played on the high stage. Yes, even the way he talks, you can tell he's not rattled by a lot, but this is kind of a different beast on the road in the playoffs against Tom Brady. These are the champs. What's the key for the Eagles today, Rex?
It's going to be the same thing I talked about. I mean, you've got to be able to run the football. And look, they did it better than any team in the league, rushing the football. They had 4 running backs, Sam, that had 400 yards or more. Like, that's incredible, whether it's Sanders, Howard, whatever. But the reason they can all run is because of these 2 guys. Jason Kelce here, the center. In my opinion, he's quick, he's strong, he's physical. Watch this. So you want to play fast? I'll make you a safety. Okay, that's how good I am. And by the way, Lane Johnson, the big right tackle, yeah, I'll just plow over anybody. Oh, this is a giant. This doesn't count. I'm going to take you, and you're going to play free safety.
That counts, Rex.
So that's, to me, that's what they do. Lean on these 2 cats. Ride that offensive line. Don't worry about it, man. And I'm just telling you, you can match this team. Look, the first time these 2 teams met, all right, they never ran the ball. I don't know what Nick Sirianni and company were doing. They were going to run them out of town.
Then the game where they were cheering, where the fans were starting to cheer when they were getting.
Remember that?
Yes.
And we're watching. It's like they're actually cheering, like, please run the football. All right. And ever since that time, this team got the message, and they can run the football. And if they do, hey, I don't care. You're playing Tampa Bay. Who cares? You got 2 all-pro linemen in there. I just showed you that. Run the football against anybody.
And those are the designed runs you're talking about. You're not even mentioning when Jalen Hurts decides to just use discernment, especially on 3rd down, and just say, hey, you know what? It's not there. I'm going to take off and run.
Scramble.
Because he's as good as they come when it comes to scramble quarterbacks.
Using his legs and being able to make accurate throws out of the pocket. There's a lot to say about the run because you've been singing it and been hollering it, all this season. But if there's one thing that I'm anxious to see this game, I'm anxious to see the 10th overall pick. Last year's Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith. This is his first playoff game. You see the impact that Jamar Chase had as a rookie, first-round pick. I want to see what Devontae Smith does in his first-round playoff.
You saw how a quarterback last night in terms of Buffalo and Josh Allen, when I said he has to do everything. I think Jalen has to be that way. I mean, not on that level. I don't think he's not there in terms of scoring a touchdown every single drive, but he has to be it. Yeah. Scrambles are key. I agree with that. Yeah. But also, you'll start to see that relationship with a Goddard, with a Ward, when he's going out and they're looking, okay, he's not running. Now I know where to be, and he hits him on the run. Those type of things. It's got to be all Hurts for this
Someone
game.
asked me what's the best thing about the Eagles' defense, and I thought about it. I said, their offense. Yeah. Because of how few plays the defense has to play because of how strong the running game is.
Can we please say it? Run, Eagles,
You're on your
run.
own, you are on your own on that. No, it's going to be interesting to see, though, if they do keep running the ball the way they have been. Teddy, I think you noted earlier when we were showing Tom Brady out on the field, and he was looking at the condition of the field. We saw Jeff Darlington and them talking about earlier. It may be wet. This could be an issue.
Especially if they do a lot of throwing. He'll want to know what his receivers are doing, where it's good to run those routes, all of those things.
For sure.
Details.
It'll be interesting to see how that affects the game plan. More on that game coming up. For now, coming up on the show, we've got You Got Moss.
It's John Collins. John Collins got to be up there.
Moss madness. The top catches from each week of the season. We need your help to make our bracket.
You're watching Postseason NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
The football version of dunked on.
Snagging on somebody's head, I think equivalent to being dunked on.
Are you serious? A receiver going over top of a small little DB and dunking on his head.
It's a jump ball, it's a 50, just going up, like dunking on somebody.
They can't jump with me. Golly. You're going to see today, just keep your eyes glued to the TV.
That, my friends, is why we call it madness.
It has been another great season of You Got Moss. Come on out, Randy. You know what, Randy, we know this about Randy. Randy is a hooper, and we figure why not integrate this with You Got Moss. We put together a bracket, okay? We need your help as fans to help him out choose the top catches from every week of the regular season. Yesterday, we did weeks 1 through 4, and the winner was South Carolina's Josh Vann. Today, we need weeks 5 through 8. So what do you got for us?
I got one question for Matt Hasselback. Hey, man, I'm the captain of the checkers team, and I'm doing the checkers with the king of the chess team, but I got one question. Who is this man right here?
That's John Collins, right?
Man, I want to spin the shout out to John Collins because, man, you are starting this segment off. Man, let's start week 5 in the NBA. Hawks versus Cavs. Sharif Cooper throws it up, and I'm just going to leave it here for y'all to ooh and ah. Man, don't y'all spill your coffee this morning. Go get it, Mr. Collins. Right there, hey, Jared Allen, man. I've said it once, and I'm going to say it again, man. You got Moss, John Collins. Hell of a play. Way to get up there. You got Moss, Mr. Allen. Matt, help me out.
That was awesome, Randy. Let's go. Week 6 winner, TCU versus Oklahoma. Quentin Johnson goes up and takes the ball away from Josh Eaton for the touch. Check out the reaction. Josh Eaton. You know what the words are. This is the nominee. Week 6, You Got Moss.
Well, let's take it to week 7, Matt. Oklahoma State versus Iowa State. Sam, you remember this play? I said it's not about your size, it's about your heart. Man, Mr. 5'8", Brendan Presley goes up over double covered. Over 2 Cowboys. Mr. Young, Mr. Eisworth, You Got Moss. Matt, finish us off.
Randy, week 8, Jags, Seahawks, DK Metcalf from Geno Smith. Sideline pass, great throw. This is my Seahawks. Back shoulder, DK with the lime green gloves. Shaq Griffin, these two know each other, but you got Moss. You got Moss? You got Moss. And Moss.
That's from the king, the captain of the chess club. Yeah.
No, you said the checkers. You're the captain of the checkers team. I'll give you that, Randy. All right, we need your help, though. Everybody at home, go on Twitter. You're already probably on Twitter yelling at us right now. Just go to ESPN NFL and vote for your favorite from those four. We will have more on Monday Night Countdown. For now, let's go over to Adam for Second Secret.
All right, some little coaching update now. How about the Houston Texans yesterday? They interviewed Hines Ward, the former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, now the wide receivers coach at Florida Atlantic. And they also interviewed Joe Lombardi, the Chargers offensive coordinator. Chicago Bears wrapped up interviews with Jim Caldwell, the former Indianapolis Colts head coach, the Packers offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. The Broncos are expected to speak with the Patriots linebackers coach, Rob Mayo, now that he's been eliminated. And this morning, Bill Belichick said he would like to return this upcoming season in 2022. He said, I think that will be accurate, Sam.
Yes, that's perfect. Still to come on Countdown. There are now 7 head coaching spots open in the NFL. Adam and Moore will take us inside why the Dolphins fired Brian Flores after 2 winning seasons in Miami. And the history of the Niners and Cowboys runs deep, but they haven't had the playoff success of late. It's that time of year when this game brings out some emotion.
It's my quarterback.
I might never come down. I might never come down.
Welcome back to Postseason NFL Countdown presented by Snickers.
All right, Rex, you got a lefty
Let's watch this kid, a little lefty right here.
There it is.
Hey, that doesn't do you any good. Godwin's not playing today, son. You got to go over there. Hit Gronk.
all right.
Mike Evans, that's a good one. Lefties, man, stay on that left side. Those guys can't throw across it. Looking for Gronk.
Very
Okay.
That's a high catch radius.
You need to live with Gronk today, son. Just keep throwing it to Gronk and Mike Evans.
That's getting your money's worth right there, coaching him up. Let's talk coaching. One coaching surprise of the week was Brian Flores getting fired by the Dolphins after 3 seasons. He led Miami to a winning record in each of the last 2 years and finished the season 8-1 over the last 9 games. That's tied for the best record in the league since week 9. And he got it done against the Patriots, going 4-2 against New England. Let's bring in Morton Adams for more on Brian Flores, guys.
Yeah, Sam, that was the one head scratcher for a lot of people in this league. Brian Flores was a very strong personality. And Stephen Ross, the owner, said, I don't think he would really work well as an organization. But remember that Stephen Ross is a satellite owner. He's not down there in the building every day. The noise he was hearing from the building, from Brian Flores, wasn't favorable, and so he made the move. And out the one guy who seemingly had success stand all over him. And certainly there was a lot of talk about the quarterbacks and the coaching staff changes at him. But Brian Flores now on the market.
And Mort, he may not have been wanted in Miami, but he is wanted elsewhere in the league. He's already interviewed with the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. There could be other opportunities as well, depending on how coaching skill shakes out. You will see. He wants to be deliberate. He wants to be thoughtful in his approach. He didn't want to rush to a decision about taking the next job. But I think most people around the league believe that Brian Flores will wind up as head coach again. And also, one other note, with Brian Flores departing from Miami, that greatly diminishes the chances that the Miami Dolphins would even make a run at Deshaun Watson, who they were continually connected with throughout last season. Brian Flores was his biggest advocate, Sam.
Interesting. It's especially interesting to me in a situation where the coaching decision changes, not necessarily dependent on wins or losses, but it seems, Matt, more on relationships and communication.
Yeah, and I think Mort said it really well. It was the head scratcher. Listen, every year there's about 5 or 6 head coaching changes, and there's always a shock, a surprise. This was, for me, this was the shock of this cycle. A guy who won 8 of his last 9 games, 10 games last year, beat the Patriots, which is really your job if you're coaching the AFC East. Beat the Patriots twice. It makes no sense on the surface, but yes, to those people who know Brian Flores, he's got a strong personality. He's brash. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows the vision, and he goes after it. That's why players love to play for him. That's what they love about his leadership style. Not everyone in the building is going to like that. I'm sure Bill Belichick has ruffled some feathers somewhere along the way.
Yeah, the guys that are not in helmets and shoulder pads.
Exactly. And so it is a head scratcher, but I think these guys, and he's a first-time head coach, a young head coach, so I'm sure he would say he made mistakes along the way, but he'll get another opportunity, and whoever gets him, I believe, will be fortunate to have.
A lot of good head coaches are tough to work with. I mean, Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells, I played for both of them, but I think it's interesting what Shefty said towards the end there. Brian Flores was a big advocate of getting Deshaun Watson in there. So, translation, he was not an advocate of Tua.
Right.
So, now we're talking about how does the GM feel about Tua? How does the owner feel about Tua? So now, is this where it's all coming down to? Being tough to work with is one thing, and B-Flow is a great coach, all right? I'm a fan of his. He is going to take lessons that he learned from dealing with owners and GMs and people and quarterbacks from this place, and wherever his next place is, he'll be a good head coach.
Yeah, and I think the lessons that he will take from this is, as a head coach, you got to be a connector, okay? You got to connect your locker room with the plan. You got to connect ownership with what your vision is, and you got to be in partnership with the general manager. That's the lessons he's going to learn. But one thing he doesn't have to learn is how to be one heck of a football coach, because to me, this is the #1 head coaching candidate that's unemployed right now. And if I'm one of these ownership groups, this is the first guy that I call. Why? Because he's done it. He won with the young quarterback. We saw how difficult that is. Only one rookie quarterback made the playoffs this year, right? And they just got eliminated. This man has won with a young quarterback. He took over a team that wasn't very good, and he built this roster. So to me, it's just a matter of time before this young man gets another opportunity, a well-deserved another opportunity as a head coach.
I think a lot of people was questioning an African-American head coach going down to Miami with no experience, and I think that he proved a lot of people wrong. And ever since I came in the National Football League, my first head coach was an African-American, and I think they put a Rooney Rule in place. And I don't want to get into the Rooney Rule, and I'm not going to get into this segment about the Rooney Rule, but I'm not going to sit up here and make my state or case until a guy like Brian Flores is able to get another job. You said the best candidate right now for the next job is Brian Flores. I've seen a team from Miami, as tough as that division is, rise to the occasion for this man. I've seen players week in and week out talk about it. And Matt, I started out talking about the guys without the helmets and without the shoulder pads. I thought if you have a good head coach, then you should make the personnel get on his page, not for the head coach to get on their page. Reason why, you got 70-something men you're leading each week, and that's what we're talking about, coming together. The locker room is together, but you're talking about the suit and ties are together. So last time I checked, I don't know why you got to make the head coach get on their page. You should make them get on the head coach's page.
Well,
it's got to be a we thing,
Can an organization work if the head coach and the quarterback aren't on the same page?
No, they need to be on the same page, and that's the thing that I think as this stuff is coming out, that's what it's about. And now it goes back to, remember when they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick? I thought it was because Flores is like, no, let's put the young guy in there. And did that decision come from even a higher level?
You saw Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator, after he was let go by the Miami Dolphins. He was asked about it in an interview, and he said that decision completely blindsided him. And so, listen, that's not unique to what goes on in the NFL. The org structure, some teams, the head coach has more power than the GM. Other teams, the GM has more power. Some owners are involved. Some owners are not involved. Not every quarterback's made the same. So, you know, going back to what Adam said, I'm sure Brian Flores will have opportunities. Hopefully he gets an opportunity where he has a little more say.
Look, I've been involved with some teams that have won and been successful, and some that haven't. I'll tell you this. You need to make sure that every part of your organization is together, okay? From ownership, general manager, head coach, and your football team. It needs to be like this. That's how it works. It's how it worked in all those years in Baltimore. When I first got to the Jets, that's how it worked. And to me, I'm just telling you that he needs to learn from this, and I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
And when he does, this guy's a beautiful football coach. Now he needs to be the leader of that entire organization.
Well, we got to look what was modeled for him in New England. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion. We knew who was in charge in New England, and that's who he learned from as a coach. So it's not really surprising that he went to his first head coaching job thinking, I'm the decision maker. I'm the guy who's going to choose who's going to play at quarterback.
And in fairness to Tua, like the standard that he's used to at the quarterback position has been Tom Brady.
Well, that's an unfair standard.
You know.
Let's just be honest. I will say it puts a ton of pressure on Tua this next year, trying to prove the owner and GM right that he's the guy for the job in Miami. A whole lot more coming on that situation. No doubt about that. Still to come on Countdown, Tom Brady faced the Eagles twice in the playoffs. But in the Super Bowl, he takes us inside one of his least favorite football memories, the Pitt Special, coming up. And it's the Hollywood Rams facing off with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals tomorrow night. Steve Young is taking you inside the mind of Matthew Stafford before his Rams playoff debut.
That's the biggest thing, just seizing these opportunities. You don't know when to get them.
I be like, sunset on the cruise. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat.
We're capping off Super Wild Card weekend with the first ever Monday night playoff game right here on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus as the Cardinals are off against the Rams at 8 p.m. Eastern. Our MegaCast coverage also includes Peyton and Eli on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. And at halftime of tomorrow night's game, make sure to tune in for the world trailer premiere of the all-new Marvel Studios original series, Moon Knight, coming soon to Disney Plus. So let's talk storylines between the Cards and the Rams. These teams split 2 games during the regular season. They each won on the road. The Cardinals won the first matchup in LA in Week 4. Kyler had 2 touchdown passes, and they rushed for a season-high 216 yards. Then the Rams returned the favor in AZ in Week 14, winning 30-23. Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers in that win, and he sat down with our Steve Young to preview the game.
Always be hurdles, and we'll say, well, he hasn't won a postseason game, and he's going to monkey on his back. And how do you take that? How much of a weight? Is it something that you think about a lot? Is it something you don't think about a lot?
It's not something I think about a lot, but I definitely am aware of it. You know, I haven't had any opportunities to in the postseason that I have had. I have come away, victorious. I also know that when the quarterback plays well, you got a better chance to win those games. So, but every time I step on the field, I feel like I have to prove myself. My first year in a new team, in a new seat, and I'm excited about, just to go out there and play a home playoff game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
How are you looking at this Super Bowl bust, or how best to describe where the Rams are today?
There's no doubt we understand what the end goal is. I think the best way to accomplish that goal is stay where your feet are planted, go out to attack the day, and just enjoy it. There's urgency. There's no question about it.
You can see much more of Steve's interview with Matthew Stafford tomorrow on Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern on ESPN. And Susie and the guys get you set for kickoff between the Cardinals and the Rams. Rex, I feel like we've been talking about this all year long, but it's never been more true than right now. How much pressure is on Matthew Stafford in this game?
Tons. And I'm going to tell you, he can pretend there's not. He recognizes the urgency. No. There's a ton of pressure. This man is recognized as a great football player, yet never won a playoff game, okay? That it's because of the organization. Well, maybe that organization thinks it's because of you, all right? The Rams trade for him to get him to a Super Bowl. There's a ton of pressure on this guy. I remember feeling pressure as a first-time head coach because my dad never won a playoff game as a head coach. So I can just imagine the kind of pressure this guy's feeling.
I'm curious, Coach. Do you think is it one he has to win? Is it the divisional? Do you think he has to go all the way to the Super Bowl to prove his worth? Matt Stafford.
I don't believe that, but there's going to be plenty that do. They traded him. They gave up 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff, the first overall pick, for this guy to win Super Bowls. But I think specifically he needs to get at least to win today. He needs it.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the Rams, I think. I have something, on both of these quarterbacks I have some problems with, but the Rams, in terms of everything that they've done, I said it earlier this year that, McVay and this organization, they've traded away all their excuses here. This is it. This is the time right here. This is where you really have to show. Personally, I think it's 2 playoff games. They got to win the wild card. They got to win in the divisional. You get them to the championship game round. All right, good. That's a good year for them.
Jared Goff did that.
He did.
Yeah.
So I want to see. So you think Stafford needs to win a Super Bowl to prove his worth?
I'm saying from a fan's perspective, if you're watching this move and what you gave up for him, look, it's an unrealistic expectation, sure. But if you get rid of the guy that took you to the Super Bowl, don't you think if you're going to get rid of him
I'm with you.
and give up all those picks,
I'm with you on that, the sort of common sense thing that he has to equal that, right? Because he's supposed to be better. But I just know anything can happen in those weekends in terms of something happens, special teams, one play, and all of a sudden they've lost. So getting a couple wins is big for him. I think that's important. Now, let me talk about Kyler Murray here on this other side, okay? Because Kyler Murray's got a little front runner in him, if you ask me, okay? Because I am tired of seeing him towards the end of the games on the bench, head down, all of that stuff. You talk about the Cardinals and the way they struggle towards the end. Maybe it's because their quarterback has that type of attitude. I've watched him closely here, and I'm sick of seeing it, okay? He's got a little front runner in him. So these 2 quarterbacks both have a lot to prove, and I'm glad it's on Monday night because everybody gets to see it.
Yeah, you're talking about bad body language language, and that's the goal of a defense. You know, you'll hear defensive coaches, defensive players talking about, hey, let's get him to bad body language. And quite honestly, you're right.
Really? I haven't heard that one.
Well, you guys did things differently in New England, obviously. But losing
we need to do that next time.
That's odd language.
4 out of your last 5, you know, you're not looking very good. I will say this, though. Kyler Murray has something in him where he can rise to the level of the occasion. So, yeah, sure, he looked pretty mediocre against Seattle, a team that, you know, was struggling this year. But he went down to Dallas and went toe-to-toe, and that's in Jerry world, against Dak Prescott and all those weapons. So don't be surprised if Kyler Murray comes out in Wild Card Weekend on the final game of the weekend on Monday Night Football and does things that just, they're jaw-dropping type things. That would be my one caution to like thinking about, hey, this team was really bad down the stretch.
I remember last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, we sit here and talked about, I think, Mac, you were the one doing something on Matthew Stafford and talking about what he did in Detroit. Hopefully he's not bringing that to Los Angeles. But, Matt, that's what I've seen over the last couple of weeks. Just throwing the balls up. You put the tape on there with Calvin Johnson, I think last week to OBJ. So if there's one of the 2 quarterbacks or going in this weekend that has the star right over him, Rex, yes, it is Matthew Stafford right there. Because why? We've seen him at his best this season for the Rams, and we've seen him at his worst. But the reason why I think I'm more concerned about Matthew Stafford is, you know, we sit up here over the last couple of weeks to talk about the year and the success that Cooper Kupp is having. You're talking about the Triple Crown. That is something hard to achieve. As a wide receiver position, I don't know what every position is of achieving a Triple Crown, but that is for the wide receiver position. But you have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp be able to make that type of magic. Now it's the postseason. Can you take what you did in the regular season and bring it to the postseason? You have OBJ, you have Cam Akers coming back. So, yes, the target is on Matthew Stafford. We just want to see what he does with that Ram logo.
Now, just real quick, why I can't wait, why I love this game, it's a true color game, all right? Kyler, Stafford, we're going to see who they are.
Was that a Cyndi Lauper reference?
Yes, it was.
There it is. We're going to see him shining through.
Cyndi Lauper.
We're going to see him shining through.
That is not a joke.
I'm not going to see
One name we did not mention that I feel like we have to mention because, yes, of course, Arizona is still trying to figure out if they have their running backs. James Conner and Rondale Moore are both questionable in this one. But the name of the game, I think, is whether or not we see J.J. Watt back out there because he's coming back motivated, trying to get after this Rams offense. To find out who's playing and who's not today, let's go to Morton Adam for actives and inactives, guys.
Well, Sam, we already know the Buccaneers will be without Chris Godwin. They moved on from Antonio Brown, and now their running back position also is in flux. Leonard Fournette will not play today, was not activated off injury reserve yesterday, leaving the running back responsibilities to rookie running back Keyshawn Vaughn, Giovanni Bernard, who was activated off IR yesterday, and Le'Veon Bell. So all 3 backs figure to play a role. They've leaned on Vaughn in recent weeks. Wouldn't surprise me if it happened again today, but that is the situation at the running back position. And there are some defensive question marks as well, although the Buccaneers will be getting back Lavonte David. He is active and will play today. Shaq Barrett expected to play. Carlton Davis expected to play. But Sean Murphy-Bunting is inactive today and will not play due to a hamstring injury.
Well, the Eagles get back Jalen Hurts after resting him in Week 18 to make sure he's 100% with that ankle. And quarterbacks have had success against running the Buccaneers on time. In fact, the Buccaneers' rush defense not quite as stout on the edges. So Jalen Hurts running. You see Josh Allen here certainly picking up yards. Other quarterbacks have done it too. And the Eagles have their full complement of running backs in Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. And Jalen Hurts, pound for pound, as strong as any quarterback in this league running the football.
And Mort, the Eagles also will be without maybe their best pass rusher in Josh Sweat, who underwent what the team is describing as a life-threatening procedure on Tuesday night in Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni said during the week that he was dealing with an appendix internal issue. Obviously, he is inactive today, wanted to play, tried to play. Eagles doctors not comfortable with him being out there after such a serious week. So, Sam, no Josh Sweat today. But, again, he's there, so that's good.
Yeah, scary situation. Thanks for the update, Adam. Let's talk more about these Eagles. Devontae Smith getting warmed up and ready to go, trying to help his Eagles to a playoff win on the road against the Super Bowl champs in Tampa. Can he pull off the upset? We'll find out soon.
Are you ready? Are you ready? This is NFL Countdown.
Coming up,
Get your popcorn ready. Before the Niners and Cowboys kick off, we're taking you back to their most memorable moments and telling you how Dak Prescott loves the pressure of the playoffs.
I don't necessarily know people have labeled the word pressure as such a bad thing, honestly. One thing that you can't replicate is playoff football.
Plus, before Tom Brady and the Eagles renew their rivalry, the GOAT makes you inside the Super Bowl moment he loved to have back in Philly.
And he literally throws a curveball. I reach out, and just as I reach out to catch it, I don't come down there.
But first, we're living the wild Week 18 that punched Spurs to get to the playoffs before they face Patrick Mahomes tonight.
I wish I would have went to bed instead of watching this.
All more coming up.
This is NFL.
This is NFL Countdown.
I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I
You're watching Postseason NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
let's go. You stop, you drop.
Like every great story worth burning to film, this one is going to grab you and not let you. This season has had all. Stars. Adversity. Yes, the return of the GOAT. Today, the 8th installment of a historic rivalry goes down in Dallas. One by one, the chiseled lean man's understudy ship their way into the postseason.
San Francisco touchdown.
Big D, big talent. Juggernaut, armed and finally fully loaded.
Touchdown, touchdown.
Find a good seat and settle in. You know this plug and twist.
Yes, sir. In Arlington, high expectations abound. Niners and Cowboys live in the playoff pressure year-round. Such storied franchises, so much history of success. There's that pressure, and then there's that pressure for the quarterback. Our Wright Thompson explains why.
It's trophy time. It's Lombardi season. There will be two very wealthy, famous, deserving men playing football this weekend for the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. There have been a lot of very wealthy, famous, deserving men who have held that job before them, and like Dak and Jenny, enjoyed great success. The only problem, of course, is the height of the bar to clear. Montana.
Looking toward the end zone. Here's a touchdown for the 49ers.
Young.
Someone tell Monkey on quarterback,
Staubach.
The man deemed to have been the most valuable player in today's game.
Eggman.
That was beautifully thrown by Troy Aikman. That is not an easy pass to complete.
Very good doesn't get you turned into prayer candles with these franchises. There's other side of that too, though. A parable about how culture can't separate team results from individual glory. Maybe Tony Romo would have a bunch of rings if he'd had Emmett in the playmaker. Romo went 13-3 one season and got bounced in the first round.
Romo to the end zone, intercepted by Giants.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
When that happens, your inner competitor must believe it's prelude, a lesson to be learned.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
But sometimes, that was your one best shot. Danny White went to 3 straight NFC championship games, and he's not even in the Cowboys' Ring of Honor. Alex Smith won in the playoffs, which most quarterbacks ever do. You remember the run, right?
Touchdown, you believe it. What play?
Colin Kaepernick would have a very different life day had he been teammates with Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Roger Craig, and Dwight Clark. Cap and Garoppolo both one throw short of winning a Super Bowl. Imagine the psych trauma of that. 100 throws a day starting, say, 5 years old, and then to come up one short? What was all that work for then? Money? This game can give a quarterback riches beyond measure, but can also leave him wonder what might have been. Walking a rocky path between the cultural stratosphere and the glory days rubber chicken circuit.
Let's go! Come on, man! Go!
Talk about what it takes to reach a place you've ever been. Football, as always, is both beautiful and cruel.
Nobody breaks it down like right. Let's take a look back at these teams, though, from the last playoff matchup. This was in 1994. Look at this list of guys.
Wow.
9 Hall of Famers.
On Tecmo Bowl with all of these people.
I used to love watching Troy Aikman throw that ball, man. Woo. How about Charles Haley? And shout out to Darren Woodson.
Ricky Waters.
How about Deion Sanders right there? You want to win a Super Bowl? Have Deion on your team. Niners probably won it that year.
Hey, that's that year they talk about Steve, get that monkey off my back. I see you, Steve. I see you shaved, too.
That's a young
Tim
Steve
McDonald, my guy.
5 Hall of Famers for the Cowboys, 4 for the Niners in that one. Maybe not quite so many in this one today in Arlington, but a lot of talent out there, Ed.
Yeah, I got to cover all 3 of those games. And, you know, Kyle Shanahan was on the 49ers sideline for the 1994 NFC Championship game with a credential from his father, Mike, the San Francisco offensive coordinator, who was upstairs calling plays. And Shanahan told me he rewatched that 1994 title game, the only good one, he said, because that's the one the San Francisco won. He showed players highlights this week, telling him those were his football heroes and that Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin were the same age in those games as the players who take the field today are right now. That's the opportunity, he said, those players have today. And on offense, Shanahan wants to be physical, make the Cowboys pass rushers play the run, force cornerbacks like Trayvon Diggs to tackle rather than intercept passes. He said, I know they don't want to tackle our guys. I wouldn't either. And while it might seem the Niners secondary is a liability against Dak Prescott and his receivers, Shanahan told me he feels good about that, saying, I'm only worried about the passing game if we have to put effort into stopping the run. Shanahan did express that he's impressed with Tony Pollard, the running back who works in tandem with Ezekiel Elliott. And of course, he wants Nick Bosa to have a huge game as a pass rusher. Only he and TJ Watt ranked in the top 4 this year in sacks, tackles, and hits on the quarterback. Bosa said this week, Sam, that Dallas tackles Tyron Smith and Lael Collins are solid players, but they're beatable, saying there's tape on them getting beat. We're trying to do the same thing. The game plan, Bosa said, make them work.
Solid players. That feels like an insult right there.
You know what I got out of that right there?
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan making cornerbacks tackle.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Leave them, just let those receivers crack down. Here they come, coming out. Can cornerbacks tackle? Ooh, that fired me up right there.
You guys have been telling me all week that this is a bad draw for the Cowboys. Randy, when you look at this matchup, what do you think the danger is for Dallas?
It has to be Jimmy Garoppolo and the offense and Deebo Samuels. Like you said, all this talk has been about the Cowboys, their defense, and what they've been able to do. This is the game that I told you. This is the game of the actual day. Last week, what I was most impressed about, down 17-0, Jimmy Garoppolo comes in. Brew, they talking about his throwing thumb, Rex, was hurt. He comes in and leads his team into a second-half victory, and now you're taking your show on the road today. All this talk about the Dallas Cowboys and what they've been doing defensively. Trayvon Diggs lead the National Football League in picks, but guess what? He led them in picks, but he also gave up some big yards too. So the confidence factor that Jimmy Garoppolo has on the road, second week in a row, bringing his show to Dallas, I can see a big play being made on Diggs to get this team jump-started. So that's something you got to also watch out for. But then also on third down, them just going vertical. Deebo Samuel is the guy, but, hey, let him go vertical also.
Why does it always seem like Jimmy Garoppolo has to prove something to people? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like he is always trying to prove
you. Keep telling him
Let me tell you. Okay, I mean, watching Jimmy, I really think he had a moment last week because I know he's played in the Super Bowl, but that wasn't really his team. Okay, you go through an ACL injury, they draft your replacement, everybody thinks you're done there, and all of a sudden it's like, you know what? No, this is my team. Last week, I think it finally proved to me, this is Jimmy Garoppolo's team right now. That's the way I saw it.
Change of heart, huh?
I'm looking for moments. I'm always looking for those moments, and he took over in that game. It's like, and he had a look on his face and just the way he just conducted himself. This is my team. I got this win.
Right.
Jimmy Garoppolo showed me a lot last week.
Yeah, you know who showed me a lot was their coach. I mean, you're down 17-0, but he stayed true to who the Niners were.
Yep.
We showed a bunch of passes there, but it wasn't about that. It was about being physical and running the football. And, yes, that opens up the passes. But, man, believe me, we could have showed 20 runs in that game when they're down by 17 and still stayed the course. Brew, when he talked about we're going to see those guys, we know it's crack replace time. It's Debo coming around that corner. It's Elijah Mitchell. It's all these guys. And being physical with the football, bad matchup. Here's something, too. Dallas turns it over on defense better than anybody. We're worried, if you're a Niners fan, because we got Jimmy. He is a little inconsistent with the turnovers. But they're 19th. Dallas is only 19th in the league in total defense. All right? So this is not the 85 Bears. So they got to prove that they can handle this team being aggressive and being physical against them today.
Real quick, Matt. Real quick. Last week, Jimmy Garoppolo went against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Floyd. Going against Lawrence, Gregory, and Parsons today. I think he's up for the challenge, Rex.
A repeat of it.
Hey, I think he's up for this challenge.
I agree. I like everything that you guys are saying. It's why I picked the Niners to beat the Rams last week. But we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and we're talking about the hottest quarterback. Maybe save Josh Allen last night, okay? But besides that game, the hottest quarterback in the NFL, and Dak Prescott, 13 touchdowns, no interceptions over the last month, and he's finding new weapons. We know about all the weapons that he has. How about Ced Wilson? This guy came out of nowhere, kinda. I mean, you might remember his dad, Cedric Wilson, Sr. I remember him. We used to play against this guy. But to me, Ced Wilson is just like his dad. He's a real weapon, and in the last 2 games, Dak's 11 for 12 throwing to him with 3 touchdowns. That's 92%. Here's his son, Ced Wilson Jr. And again, the Philly game, people said, hey, should we rest him? What should we do with Dak? No, hey, let's put him out there and let's see what else we got. And we got a guy that can score touchdowns, who can dance like his dad. He's got great end zone celebrations as well, which is, you know, it's important. But this is what I love the most, okay? End zone celebrations are fun. Check this out last week, second quarter, 2-minute drive, okay? He's having a heck of a night, leading the entire Dallas Cowboys team in receiving, in yards, and catches, all that stuff. Check him out right here. The awareness, the football IQ, understanding the 2-minute drill, helping his team in a game that they're already kind of, you know, they're moving. They got this game won, a game that people are saying isn't that important. So this game today is very, very important.
So basically, you found a hidden gem. You don't think Kyle Shanahan has a hidden gem? Who was that wide receiver?
Jawan Jennings.
So you don't think Jawan Jennings is a hidden gem for the 49ers, Matt?
I think the Dallas Cowboys have as many weapons as any team in the NFL. We're talking about getting to a Super Bowl. We're talking about hoisting something. You want to talk about a complete team? The Dallas Cowboys have the potential to be a complete team like that.
Let me tell you who the Niners defense recently got back to combat all of that. Dre Greenlaw, a really a good linebacker. Him with Fred Warner back there. We can't wait to see this one, Sam.
I can't wait for you to pick this game because I know this is eating you up inside. He's been so tough on Dallas, so tough on Jimmy. We got to remember, Jimmy's got more playoff experiences, won more playoff games than Dak Prescott.
Hey, we got to start with Teddy Bruschi proud, okay?
Put you on the spot. our little Dallas Cowboys fan right here. All right, let's bring in Morton Adam for some news on the coaches for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, he's been one of the hottest candidates, but he hasn't interviewed yet with anybody. Multiple teams are interested. You've heard Broncos prominently, maybe a little bit of the Vikes. Jerry Jones wants to retain him. Dan's having fun there, but what happens if the Giants show some interest? Dan grew up in Middletown, New Jersey. He loved the Giants. He loved Bill Parcells. He loved Lawrence Taylor. But then again, he's a young Lawrence Taylor and Parsons, maybe.
Well, more that same game, the second half of this season, Jimmy Garoppolo simultaneously has raised his value to both the 49ers and to other teams in the offseason trade market that San Francisco decide it want to move on from. The 49ers, though, would not be where they are today without Jimmy Garoppolo. They know that, and I think any team that watches the tape, Jimmy Garoppolo, can see he's a natural thrower. One person said he's as natural a thrower as just about any quarterback in the league, even with Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Yes. One person said that more. And so we've got Jimmy Garoppolo proving his worth to the 49ers and to others around the league as well, Sam.
I love it. Thanks, guys. Who wants to follow me to Florida? Come on down. We're going back to Tampa where Jalen Hurts, well, not really, but Jalen Hurts plays his first playoff game against the defending champs. He's the Eagles' youngest starting QB in playoff history at 23 years old. On the other side today will be Tom Brady's third playoff game against the Eagles. The first two were in the Super Bowl, starting with a win by Brady Patriots. Super Bowl 39 gave him his third Lombardi trophy in 4 seasons. And he's the Eagles again in Super Bowl 52. This time, Phil came out on top despite Brady throwing for a Super Bowl record 505 yards. Here's a look back at that game, how it all went wrong for T12.
The train is the end zone.
We were playing catch-up all freaking day.
Let's hit the 15, driving up a tackle, 10, touchdown, Patriots!
this play. It's called Clemson. Because we got it for Clemson. We used it in the 2015 season against the Eagles. They really don't account for the quarterback, going out and pass. And I caught it, I ran for like 35 yards. So I always like having it play in. And Josh was always like, dude, I'm calling it like close enough so you can get it in the end zone. We're about 35, third down. I had stitches I had removed from my right hand. I had a glove that was tucked into my pants. Josh called them the Clemson. I reached down for the glove and I felt the glove in. I was gonna pull it and put it on. But look at the clock. It's like, oh, I'm too rushed. I'm not gonna do it.
Before he summons wide to the back.
Give the ball back. He gives it to Danny. I'm running out, catch it, and man, I'm spaced. Danny literally throws a perfect ball. I look up for the ball, I see it, and I reach out. And just as I reach out to catch it, I don't come down there,
Brady, his hands in clean. Come on,
At all the moments for me to make a play to help it win, that was the one that, in that game, really looked back on. I mean, unbelievable, like however many plays later that. They were really special.
Here we go. Easy. Kill. Play.
Look to the right, goes direct to Clement. Reverse it, and the pass goes into the end zone, and it's a touchdown.
And it just happened so quick, and they executed to perfection.
Yes, they did. You can see more of Man in the Arena streaming now on ESPN+. Randy, that was very insightful. I was going to ask you, is this man blaming his gloves for not catching the ball? Did you coach him up a little bit before this? What did you see right there?
No, I just said as a pass catcher, Brady is right-handed. He throws with his right hand. If you look right there, he talked about the glove being off his right hand. The first thing that he tried to touch with that ball was the left hand with his glove. So I think in his mind, them stitches was a concern. But I'm going to come to my man's defense, Sam.
I know. You're a good friend. You're a good friend, and we love you for that. Another good friend of ours is our favorite Florida man, and that's Jeff Darlington. He's in Tampa with the very latest. Hi, Jeff.
Sam, I was talking to Tom Brady a little bit ago, and I can tell you he knows exactly what he's up against with his Bucs offense that's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. He's down 2 running backs in Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. He no longer has Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown. So this is a very different offense at the start of the playoffs than it was, say, in the middle of the season. They're going to have basically a rotation of 3 different running backs in this game, so no true featured back. Someone close to Brady asked him what he expected the game plan for the day to be. His answer, Sam, was very simple: pass.
Well, that is pretty simple. The difficult thing is who you're throwing to. Do they have that chemistry there? They're missing a lot, Matt. No AB, no Godwin. Fournette's not out there. It's a windy day. I think it said 23 miles per hour. How can Brady pull this off?
Well, I think there's so many things that impress me about Tom Brady. His catching ability is not one of those things.
That's fair.
Yeah. But at 44 years old, late in the year, his arm strength is as strong as it's ever been to me. It's as strong as it was his rookie year. And people think with arm strength it matters like how far you can throw the ball. That's not it. It's the cover 2 hole shot. Like, that's the throw. Okay, there's mathematics to it. It should be about 21 yards in between the flat defender and then that safety. Brady actually throws this one late. This ball should not be allowed to be completed, but he throws it firm with an arc, and it is a absolute, like, laser shot, okay? It's not a line drive. It's got to get up and over, but it's a fastball. That was a game winner in the 4th quarter in 2 minutes. Here he is the next week against Carolina. Same thing, cover 2 type look here. On a rope, but look how high that football is. No underneath defenders have a shot at it. The accuracy, but it's a fastball. And so all these quarterbacks that are getting up in age, we talk about like, oh, does he still have it? Should he retire? He doesn't have the arm strength. This dude has every bit the arm strength, has one of the strongest arms in the NFL, and late in the year doesn't seem to be a factor. So wind, cold, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about that at all. Talking about a guy that could throw the ball 50 times today, he could do it, and he's got the physical tools to do it too.
You know, we said it last year about one of the reasons about leaving the weather up in Boston and coming down, to Tampa is to be in the warmer weather. But as you've seen Darlington right there talking, the weather will be a factor today. And he asked the question, Brady, what is it going to take today? He said, we're going to throw the ball. So for him to be able to lead the league in the categories this year, you know, with completion percentage and a few more at this age of 44, Matt.
Passing leader.
Yeah, the passing leader.
Yep.
And the plays that you showed. You remember that play earlier we showed from Mac Jones of just letting that thing just float? One thing, Brady, is he's seasoned, and I've said it over the years. It's like some seasoned pots. Brady is seasoned, and right now he's poised to go out here against this Philadelphia Eagles defense and shred them. If it takes 30 passes in this rain, if it takes 40 passes in this rain, he's ready to go. You hear the name Alex Guerrero, and I know he's not part of the organization, but he's part of Tom's inner circle. That's who keeps Tom Brady going out here, staying healthy week in and week out.
Yes.
So shout out to Alex Guerrero for able. You're talking about the greatest quarterback, arguably, of all time, still going out here and playing. You see, what, 12,000 plus yards in the playoffs? Man, I'm impressed. But today, those young wide receivers
Since you just mentioned Alex Guerrero, I just got to mention this. Tom Brady has spent over a year of his life in the playoffs. He has spent 469 days of his life in the playoffs. So just had to get that up.
He spent a longer amount of time on Alex's table, probably, actually, too. What's up, Alex? Yeah. So, okay, if I'm the defense here, the Eagles, okay, let me take away, all right, Mike Evans. All right, let me double team Gronkowski in the red area. Who else can he go to? All right, you talking about those tough, difficult throws he has to make. And yes, some of those were the young receivers, but test the relationship, test the trust that Tom has in the other receivers. And I'll say one thing. This offense is one injury down from being so thin that I don't know if they can win, you know, because Tom trusts, big thing, okay? So I'm taking away who he trusts the most defensively. Let's see if the Philadelphia Eagles can do that.
Well, you know, one area they're not thin at is tight end. And so when you have Gronkowski, you have Cameron Brate, and you have O.J. Howard, we mentioned it, you know, last couple of weeks. Expect more of that personnel. And again, they're not going to change who they are. They're going to run their exact offensive system. It's just going to be the bigger bodies. And sometimes this is actually a good thing. When the wind's blowing 20-some miles per hour, all right, it can affect your passes a little bit, and you have a bigger target in those tight ends. So I'm not expecting these guys to do anything different. Just get it done and move on to the next round.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to watch for a lot of reasons. Obviously, so much experience for Tom here, but they've been really good at home this year. 7-1 at home. That only loss, of course, to the Saints, so they've proven they're beatable there, but pretty good numbers so far. Let's talk what's coming up on the show. Still to come on Countdown. Big playoff stakes today, but Adam Mort will tell you why Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady's futures might be a little more uncertain than you think. And Patrick Mahomes faces Big Ben and the Steelers today in the first wildcard game ever. We're taking you back to see how the Steelers learned they punched their playoff tickets last weekend.
I missed the end of it. I dozed off. I knew I had a work day waiting on me, or I assumed that I had a work day.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and during the playoffs, new sportsbook customers can bet $5 to win $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not in a sportsbook state? You can still play free for over $150,000 with NFL playoff pools. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with the code COUNTDOWN.
Welcome back to Postseason NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
Coming this week on a special wild card edition of Monday Night Countdown, we're going all access with Matthew Steppers.
My first year in a new team, a new city, and I'm excited about the chance to go out there and play home playoff games. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Plus, we're hitting the field for a pregame interview with Cooper Kupp and going one-on-one with Kevin Murray.
I look forward to the next game, and that's how these guys do too, so the next game is most important.
Kick off your Monday night with Countdown at 6 Eastern, followed by the Cardinals and Rams at 8 on ESPN and ABC.
That's tomorrow, but today at Arrowhead, Steelers and Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes starts a wild card game for the first time in his career. Kansas City's won 4 straight home playoff games and went 9-1 in their last 10 to end the regular season. You know, this one feels a little like David and Goliath, except David's 6'5" with a ton of experience. The Steelers went 9-7-1 this season and weren't exactly competitive against the Chiefs just 3 weeks ago. But when it comes to the playoffs, they're not taking their shot at the Giant for granted. As Kimberly Martin reminds us, just getting here was quite the journey.
The Steelers, they need to beat the Ravens. They need the Colts to lose. The Chargers, Raiders, not end the time.
Chances were slim. In fact, according to ESPN's PI,
they were 8.5%. But the Steelers woke up Sunday, January 9th, knowing that if they could defeat the Ravens in Baltimore, then perhaps fate could take care of the rest.
Got it! Got it! Got it! Got it! Touchdown, Jacksonville!
The Colts had lost, and back in Baltimore at the same minute, the Ravens and Steelers were heading into overtime.
Were you scoreboard watching at all?
It was kind of hard not to. We knew what was going on down in Jacksonville, but we knew we needed to take care of business ourselves.
4th and 8. Ben fires pass. It's caught first down at the 31 by Ray McCall. A 36-yard effort. Their kick is good.
Colts had lost, the Steelers had won, and those playoff chances now stood at 99%. All Pittsburgh needed now was for the Raiders and Chargers game tonight not to end in tie.
We don't team that tied, and all it takes is a tie for us to just not go to the playoffs.
And on social media, the trend question was, should the Chargers and Raiders actually play to a draw?
Fires toward touchdown! Jackpot, baby!
With the Raiders leading 29-14 with less than 5 minutes to go, Steelers' playoff chances still stood at 99%. But then,
here is the season. Herbert to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Chargers!
the game would go into overtime. And after trading field goals, the time ticking down, a tie seemed all too likely, causing a meltdown in Steelers Nation.
No. This is not happening right now. This is not happening right now.
I'm tired. Oh my God.
I wish I would have went to bed instead of stayed up and watched it. It's stressful.
The Steelers' playoff chances dropped to 52% before Chargers coach Brandon Staley decided to call a fateful timeout with 38 seconds left in the game.
Now they call the timeout.
And they could have done that 30 seconds ago.
And then on the next play, third down.
It's Jacobs, cuts over to the left, slashes back, has a first down, ladies and gentlemen.
That first down run brought the Steelers' playoff hopes back into focus, 69%, setting up 47 yards of fate.
The Steelers are all on their feet, screaming for the Raiders to get this field goal.
Jackpot, baby!
I probably yelled a couple times the scream while my kids were asleep.
I missed the end of it. I dozed off. Probably better off not having watched it.
Perhaps the Steelers' Week 18 win can best be described like this.
Woo!
Teddy.
Well, it took a lot to get there. It was interesting to watch that. Probably a lot more interesting for the Steelers. Let's bring in Kimberly Martin while we get ourselves together. She is in Kansas City with the latest on this matchup. Hi, Kimberly.
Hey, Sam. Listen, you guys heard it. The Steelers understand that they're 12-point underdogs today, but Patrick Mahomes said the Chiefs are not looking past them. He expects a physical, tough game because, guess what? That's Steelers football, right? And Patrick said, listen, if we don't play our best football, we're going to be on the couch next week. Now, that said, the Chiefs are pretty confident in their offensive weapons, specifically Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, two guys that we know consistently win their one-on-ones. And I talked to left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. about the added confidence that those guys give their unit, and he said it's almost like how Pittsburgh talks about TJ. You can call it the Michael Jordan effect. They just bring guys with them, and like Patrick Mahomes, they basically raise everybody else's level of play.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we've seen that for years now with Patrick there. The question, Teddy, I think, is for the Steelers, and they've, I'm sure, been working on it all week. What's the key to slowing him down?
Yeah, so how do you stop this Michael Jordan of a quarterback? I mean, it's to blitz him or not to blitz him. That's really the conflict, because the answer's been too deep. I mean, don't give him the plays, but then four-man rush, you still have to get there in a coordinated way. Now, this is a couple of problems they had the first time in terms of defending Mahomes. There's a four-man rush. You just want to get there with your rushers. Watt rushes up the field. Interior defensive lineman rushes up the field. Mahomes, now this is what he wants right here. I can go playground. I'm pointing pointing to guys. I'm looking back. I'm telling the ref, hey, man, how you doing? Everything okay? Yeah, I can check everything. In the meantime, my receivers just go there. I get right to the line of scrimmage. Bang, I'm loose, I'm playing. This is the way I want to do it right here. Okay, 4-man rush, I'll beat that. You want to come blitz me with a couple corners off the edge? That's fine too, because now it's easy for me. I'm going to look over to my left, threaten the bubble, only to throw this slant to Pringle right here. They did whatever they wanted to do on this Steeler defense, and they couldn't tackle either. Nice game by Pringle in this one. Little stiff arm, ducks a few tackles, and there you go. So, what do we do, guys? All right? I mean, I know T.J. Watt had the ribs in that game, so he's going to be more effective. I think that's where you want to go with just let them get loose, but still, it's a tough little conflict there defensively because Mahomes is so good.
I think tackling for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to be a question for me. And the reason why, because you're talking about T.J. Watt coming in. He's healthy this game. To be able to go out there and try to fluster Patrick Mahomes, that means Patrick Mahomes get that ball out early and not hold on to that ball right there. You showed him trying to escape the pocket. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will have an answer for that and try to keep him contained. But why I say they're going to have a problem with tackling is because all season, we talked at the beginning of the season of teams not letting them get in the deep ball, what they were going to do. Well, they had to find... You know, they had to solve it. They had to find answers to it. But what did they do? They found answers to it. Well, they needed a third receiver. Well, they found that. So what I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to do today, get it in their playmakers' hand. It's been the formula for the second half of the season. Get it in their playmakers' hand and let them run after the catch. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't fare well the last meeting. Yeah. You know, you just showed that Pringle. I like what Pringle has been able to do for the last month for the Kansas City Chiefs. But if there's anything I'm looking at, is Pittsburgh being able to tackle these guys, these speedsters.
How many swing passes have we seen Patrick Mahomes lately?
Missiles.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, you guys we talked about it the whole time. I go, if I see another bubble screen out of this team, this is one of the greatest deep throwers that there is. But, you know, Randy's right when he talks about tackling for Pittsburgh. That's what it's going to be about, because when you play those high shell safeties, then you have to come up, rally up, and tackle. But, man, if there's anybody that thinks that this is a walk in the park, they're crazy. Did you see the last game that Kansas City played against Denver?
Yes.
They gave up 200 yards rushing almost in that game. Bad tackling, and all these things. Like, that's not the old Patrick Mahomes that I know. So to me, there's a concern here, and there's an opportunity for Pittsburgh. But I think they have to run the football and take some calculated shots down the field.
Well, there's so many weapons, and we haven't even mentioned Travis Kelce, because I believe he's the straw that stirs the drink for this entire offense. When he's not out there, they're like a completely different team. And we've seen that in some big losses. I'm thinking specifically of a wild card loss against Tennessee years ago when Kelce got hurt in the game, and it was like, wait a sec, what happened to this team? Travis Kelce, whether it's critical situations in the red zone, critical situations in third down, short yardage, he's the guy. And so, like, we talk about yards after the catch. Yards after the catch with Travis Kelce, just the same. You got to get him on the ground.
Yep.
I may be one of them guys that's crazy, Rex, because I don't know how the Steelers have a chance. This game in the first matchup was 36-3 at one point.
Without Kelce.
Yeah, without him.
But don't you think, like, this isn't college football. This is the NFL. So anybody can beat anybody on any day, right?
Yes,
and don't you think just the human nature of that? Like, when you've played a team and you just spank them, and then you play them again, like, I don't care. You're just human. So, like, the idea that you think, like...
Yeah, but that wake-up call, it was almost a wake-up call in Denver. I mean, how poorly they tackled. The coaches, they had everything they needed to show them.
And that's a great example. They made Drew Lock look like Michael Vick in that first half. I mean, because, again, human nature. Sometimes it's harder to deal with the success. And they had so much success against the Pittsburgh Steelers the first time. It's harder to sort of hit that clear button and come and bring your A game.
This is just the one game where I just don't know how competitive this is going to be.
Yeah. We got to remember, though, this is a Chiefs team that lost 5 games. They've shown that they're beatable. I'm not saying the Steelers are going to do it. There were times this year, Teddy, you and I talked about it throughout multiple games this year, where Patrick Mahomes was making really hard stuff look really easy, but really easy stuff look hard. Strangely, like, they've had a very up and down season. I'm saying there's a chance. I don't know if any of us are actually going to pick them. You will find out about that soon. But for now, let's look at the fallout from this game in the AFC. The divisional matchups are almost set. If the Chiefs win tonight, the Bills will be heading to Kansas City next weekend, and the top-seeded Titans will host the Bengals. If the Steelers pull off this upset, Pittsburgh travels to Tennessee, and the Bills play at home against the Bengals. Still to come on Countdown, Tom Brady takes the field without some of his weapons today, but he does have Gronk. We had the Bucs tight end mic'd up for last week when he earned an extra $1 million. And the last 4 times the Cowboys and Niners played in the playoffs, the winner of that game won the Super Bowl. We're taking you back to their most classic rivalry moments.
Montana throws pass, caught the heart, touchdown for the 49ers! And they beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27.
Season NFL Countdown presented by Snickers.
As we continue on Postseason Countdown, coming to you live from the Seaport, brought to you by Chase. Let's bring our insiders back in. Morton, Adam, guys, what are you hearing about some QB futures today?
Well, Tom Brady, 44, right? He always says he's going to evaluate his career after each season. We still have to wait to see how the Buccaneers' season unfolds and how it plays out. He has said he'd like to come back, but he also would like to take some time to think about it. And because he's the GOAT, it's worth mentioning here that you just never know if this will be his last postseason. Again, he'd like to come back with Brady. Anything is always possible, Sam. And so we'll be watching him today. Pay close attention to Tom Brady. And we'll be paying close attention to the Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who has, like Jimmy Garoppolo, boosted his value with the Eagles and to anybody else that might want to try to trade for Jalen Hurts. But the more he plays, the deeper he takes the Eagles, the more chance that the Eagles are going to be in a position where it's going to be tough to find somebody who's an upgrade over Jalen Hurts, despite the fact that the Eagles have 3 first-round draft choices and the ammunition to go get another quarterback if they want.
And we know there's really no question about the future of Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. In fact, a Steelers source says that when the game ended against the Ravens last week, there was a sense from Roethlisberger that it couldn't have been a more perfect ending against a rival team with a victory. But they were aware that the Colts had lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and if there wasn't a tie Sunday night between the Chargers and Raiders, they'd go to the playoffs, except there almost was a tie. And now it's easy money going forward. And speaking of the Colts, you heard it. No commitment from head coach Frank Reich or general manager Chris Ballard on the future of Carson Wentz, the quarterback that the team traded first and third round picks for. There is an expiration date on that no confidence, and that is March 19th when Wentz is due $15 million guaranteed money of his $22 million base salary. Not looking real good with Carson Wentz going forward.
And more, speaking of quarterbacks whose future is uncertain, Kirk Cousins, he himself said it's uncertain. Look, the Vikings are looking for a new GM, they're looking for a new head coach, and they have a quarterback right now who's entering the final season of his contract with a $45 million salary cap value. That is a situation that is going to have to addressed one way or another, whether they keep Cousins or move on from him. But clearly, his time in Minnesota right now is at best uncertain.
And of course, we have uncertainty still with the future of Deshaun Watson, who didn't play this year. Everybody knows the story there. Deshaun Watson still has legal issues on the civil side of it and some criminal side of it. The league has this investigation going, waiting for the end of those proceedings. Deshaun Watson would love to go to Miami. That no longer looks like a possibility. Where would he land? Word is he still wants out of Houston, no matter who the coach is, because it's a matter of ownership, Sam. So Deshaun Watson will be one of those stories, legitimate stories that we are talking about in terms of where he will be playing in 2022.
I know you'll keep us posted. Thanks, guys. Let's go back out to Arlington. The 49ers and the Cowboys will meet in the playoffs for the first time since the 1994 NFC Championship. They played in the conference title game the last 4 times in the playoffs, and the winner went on to take home the Super Bowl in each of those seasons. Pretty crazy, but those were some really good teams, so I guess it shouldn't be all that surprising. Let's talk game breakers in this matchup today. Rex, start us off on the Cowboys.
Well, I think my game breaker is not going to be CeeDee Lamb. It's not going to be Cedric Wilson. It's going to be Amari Cooper. We never talk about him. He should be the best receiver on the field today. He needs to be if Dallas is going to get a victory. The guy's got all the talent in the world. Now he's got to show up in the biggest moment, on the biggest stage, and have his best performance of the season. That's what they need from Amari Cooper. He can quiet everybody else, Deebo Samuel, all those other receivers on the field. This man right here has the talent to be the best He needs to do it today.
Or I'll go to the Niners, Rex. I got a receiver for you, Jawan Jennings.
There he is.
Dirty work, okay? Kyle Shanahan says he plays 95% blacked out. What's that mean? You visit bad places out on the football field, okay? And he goes down and digs out DBs, digs out safeties like that, and they all know he's coming, so Debo can get those rushing yards out of the backfield. So when they know it's coming, boom, you fake it. DB braces himself for it. Boom, this is the touchdown pass Debo threw to him, but it's because all the dirty work he does. And they'll even, hey, checkmate, they'll even give him a bone once in a while out here. What? Critical situation, out route, but look at him. Breaking tackles, just fighting the entire way. A guy that grinds and just earns everything he gets. Jawan Jennings, watch him.
Man, I cannot wait.
Wait a second. And Trent Williams, that's what I'm talking. He gets fired up. He said, bam, I like it too.
I can't wait to see that young receiver. But, man, I cannot wait to see Jalen Hurts taking his show on the road. Man, there's been a lot of talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, all these first-round picks, and you're looking for a quarterback. Hey, it may not look like it's old-fashioned, but he's been able to make plays with his legs and with his arm. Today, against Tampa, as you can see right there, 3rd down and 7, contain the quarterback. That's what they always tell the defensive linemen. So guess what? You got to have some great rush lanes, but here, against Devin White. Devin White, get there. Nope, I want you to look how accurate this throw is right here. So today, on the road in Tampa, Jalen Hurts, the show boy, lube them shoulders up because the team is going to need you.
All right, the Steelers need a little something extra, and I'm calling on Cam Hayward, okay? In the passing game. This guy's got 9 PBUs. You guys know what I love to say. Tips and overthrows. In zone coverage, when wide receivers are open, D linemen, you got to feel that from the offensive line. Stop your rush, get your hands up. Here, it's not even a tips and overthrow. He just catches it. Well done, Cam Hayward. But like I said, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11. Offense is trying to get half of it back. Receiver open, zone coverage. Look at this, Cam Hayward. Listen, we give assists in every other sport. Hockey, we give an assist. We give assists in basketball. Why not in football? Cam Hayward, I need some assists out of you.
Nice.
I just wish the people could know. I'm working with a bunch of little kids. You guys are jumping up during that whole thing. Having too much fun in the playoffs. Just 20 more minutes till kickoff in the early game in Tampa. It's time for some last-minute news and notes from our reporters. We start in Kansas City with our Kimberly Martin.
Sam, the last time these two teams played each other, TJ Watt was barely himself because of a rib injury. But tonight, the Chiefs fully expect to face a much fresher and more relentless edge rusher. Left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. told me, TJ, he's a Hall of Famer. And it's the playoffs too, so I know he's going to come out with his hair on fire. Now, for a little weather. Right now, it's below freezing, but the temperature is expected to rise as the day goes on. So by kickoff, it'll be in the 30s, which granted isn't as warm as where Jeff Darlington is right now.
Well, Kimberly, we've seen a lot of rain this morning and some pretty heavy wind gusts here in Tampa, but the good news is, ever since the tarp came off the field, it's been dry, and it's expected to stay that way throughout the afternoon. So weather should not have really any impact on this game. That is especially good news for a Bucs offense that plans to rely heavily on their passing game today. Now let's go to Sal Pal on the Eagles.
Jeff, I just watched Miles Sanders, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, warm up on the field behind me. Remember, he missed the last 2 games with a broken bone in his hand. I asked Sanders how he was feeling. He said just fine. No sign of any kind of bandage on his hand. As Nick Sirianni said, for this game, all hands on deck. Ed?
Well, Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan coached together with the Atlanta Falcons today. Each has a uniquely versatile player to use against the other. Quinn has rookie Mike Parsons. Shanahan has Deebo Samuel, a thickly built wide receiver who often plays running back. Shanahan, in fact, told me he's honestly not sure which position Samuel plays better. He scored 8 rushing touchdowns, an NFL record for a wide receiver, and Niners left tackle Trent Williams told me that if Samuel played running back for an entire season, he'd be a 1,500-yard rusher minimum. Sam, back to you.
What, like that's good? Hold up. Big Ed is the biggest underdog he's ever been in his career today versus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Our game picks are coming up next. Find out who's taking the upset. And before Tom Brady takes on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles today, we're going inside the lines with one of the GOAT's favorite targets. Yes, that would be Gronk.
I got a million. Yeah, I got a million. We going. Where we going? To the city. Yeah, we going. We going to the city.
history of sports. Me and Tom have never talked about the play. You ready?
I'm ready.
Fumble.
Incomplete. No.
This game is over, and you know it's over.
The Super Bowls all happened because it wasn't a fumble.
Had the tuck rule. Never happened. A lot of people look back and think, well, what if?
The Tuck Rule, February 6th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Available next day on ESPN+.
Oh, Teddy's still bitter.
I'm still talking about that. I'm not bitter. Like, what are we talking about?
Why would he be
what
bitter?
Are you doing?
Oh, I guess that's a good point.
The rest of the world is
bitter. Bitter for Charles, okay? No snow in Tampa today, but some wind. Tom Brady looking to his tight ends today, like old faithful Rob Gronkowski, who was mic'd up in a win over the Panthers.
I'm just working, dog.
He has now set the NFL record most 100-yard receiving games by a tight end.
Most of all-time 100-yard games for 6'7", 265-pounder pliable piece.
Gronkowski is reaching incentive for yardage. He's now one catch away from another $500,000 incentive.
Oh, I need one more. Yeah. If I don't get the catch, I have to go get a real.
Brady fires to the left. Gronkowski has his catch bonus. Cha-ching.
Pass, Doc. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Doc. Yeah.
You just got a milli?
Yeah, I got a milli.
Oh,
got a milli. We go. We're going.
Good city.
Yeah, we go. We going to
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Could have said Philly.
I'm special.
More on that in a second. He's trying to help his quarterback get another playoff win today. Not only are Tom 34 wins the most all-time in the playoffs, they're 20 more than the rest of the NFC's quarterbacks in this year's postseason have in their playoff careers combined. Just crazy, but not surprising. It's time to make some game pick brought to you by USAA Insurance. Here's your chance, Teddy.
I'm special.
I knew. I hear Gronk's voice every time. All right, let's start with the Eagles and the Bucks in Tampa. What do you think on this one, Randy?
Well, you know, Rex Ryan made a point talking about the tight ends, and we just put Rob Gronkowski up on the screen. Between him, Howard, and Bray, don't expect that tight end package to get out there and be a running package. They can also throw from that, also be verticals, but I'm going with Tom Brady and the Bucks.
Man, everybody's going to go with Tom Brady, but 34 wins in the playoffs, so no, you've won enough. It's time for the Eagles to step up. Let's go, Eagles. I don't care, man.
Well, then sing the song.
I'm taking it. Give me the darn Eagles in. Randy Moss, give it Eagles. Run, Eagles, run. Right past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think that's the song, right?
We're punishing people.
All right, Rex. All right, I believe you like teams that run football, but I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can not only stop that run, but offensively they're going to be tough to stop. You talk about tight ends. Mike Evans, I think, is going to have a big day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Tom is these Bucks. This is the one game. This one, I just don't think that this is going to be one that's going to be close in the end. I think the Bucks will pull away and they win this game.
Yeah, well, they better figure out how to stop Jalen Hurts and his legs on those scrambles because he's really electric at that. But I'll say this, Tom Brady, just feel like he's going to will his team to victory. They got a lot of drama with the injuries and stuff like that. But Rex, I think you made a great point. Gronk, Cam Brate, those guys. I'll bet on Brady today. Yeah, the injury report is long and concerning. Sean Murphy-Bunting now out for this game, too. I just think Tom Brady has something to prove. And when Tom Brady has something to prove, and I mean specifically when AB said that they need me, he's going to prove to this entire team today that they're just fine without him. I think they get the win. Let's get to the Niners and the Cowboys. This one in Arlington. Randy, who wins it?
Sam, you just said somebody has something to prove, and I think over the last month that the 49ers has been below the radar, and I think their head coach Shanahan loves his team above the radar, getting into the playoffs. Last week's performance by the quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, going to Dallas. I don't know how sore that thumb is, but I'm going in the shocker. I said this is the game of the day, Rex. I'm going with Jimmy Garoppolo taking his show on the road, Bosa and company. Give me the Niners.
Well, I think the shocker is going to be coming up when Brew picks. But, Brew, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys, and here's why. I look like the Cowboys with these colors. But I'm going to take them because you've convinced me all season that this team is legit and they're going to a championship game. So, Brew, because of that, I'm taking the Cowboys.
Oh, yes.
Man, my Cowboys. I just think these Niners now, let me just tell you something about these Niners. They take away the aggressiveness defensively for the Dallas Cowboys, and they'll make them think. And that's what I think their weakness is, their ability to adjust, the shifts, the motions, the power run game of the San Francisco 49ers. I like these Cowboys, but these Niners are dogs, okay? I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. I think they pull off this game. I'm going with the Niners to win.
Wow.
Love what Garoppolo's done.
Wow.
It's time. They're going to go in there and win.
The 12-year-old version of Teddy Brisky would be so disappointed.
He is.
Listen, we talk about athletes all the time getting in the zone. Like, we talk about basketball players like getting in the zone. Dak Prescott is in the zone as a quarterback, as hot as any quarterback in the league. I have more trust in Dak than I do in the other quarterbacks in the game. I'm going to pick Dak and the Dallas Cowboys.
I think this one's pretty simple. They're at home. They've got the better offense and the better defense. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think it's that complicated. I think you are going to come back in here in shame for what you've done today, Teddy. Let's talk about the Steelers and the Chiefs. The Steelers are a 13-point underdog in the playoffs. That's the largest ever for a team in the wild card round. Over the last 20 years, the 7th team to be double-digit underdogs in the wild card. Matt, your 2010 Seahawks were
That's a good
there.
memory. That's the Beastquake game, and it's going to take something extra special like an incredible run, maybe the greatest run of all time.
All right, you've been gassing up the Steelers. Are they going to win?
No, I really think that, for them to wait, the way they got into the playoffs was something to see, but I really think that Patrick Mahomes, this offense, have something to say today. Give me Kansas City at home.
You know what? The only way I would take the Steelers is if they got 13 points. They will cover in this game, but they're not going to win outright. Give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to take the Chiefs, and they're going to win by more than 13. I'm going the other way on that. Yeah, Chiefs.
It's not going to be like last game, but I'll take the Chiefs.
Okay, I'm going to take the Chiefs. This is so boring. I want to take the Steelers so bad. But I will say, I think it ends really close. I think Big Ben goes out on a high note, or maybe that's just wishful thinking for me. I think it's a great game for Ben. So if they win, let's take a look at what happens here. So if the Chiefs win, the Bengals would play the Titans in Tennessee. The Bills would be in Kansas City. If the Steelers win, the Steelers hit the road for Nashville, and the Bengals would be in Buffalo.
So basically, the Bills fans care more about all these games than anybody else.
The Bills fans don't care after that performance yesterday by their team.
Care less who they play.
They don't care. That's fair.
All right, we're still rolling. We got more when we come back, but after us on ESPN, we got some men's college hoops action.
Who we got?
It's Cincinnati at Wichita State.
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati has won 7 of the last 8. Can they keep it rolling against Wichita State today?
Postseason NFL countdown is presented by Snickers. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
Just a couple minutes left till the playoffs start this wild card Sunday. She looks like she's having some fun. Guys, what did it feel like right before you were running out on the field for a playoff game? Do you remember? It's not been that long, right?
Totally hype.
Like that kind of hype right there.
But the thing about it, Sam, is a lot of people, as players, we sit up here, oh, we get a playoff check? Man, I'm running through this tunnel screaming. I'm ready to rock and roll.
You feel the difference in atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, so much you can feel the urgency with the fans. They just know how important. And your pregame warm-ups, everybody's there already. I mean, because everybody's so excited for the game. Yeah.
Okay, final thing to watch for in the Bucs-Eagles game.
I think it's got to be Gio Bernard for me, the running back. I think of him more as a pass catcher. And Tom Brady said, hey, we're going to throw it every down. I would not be shocked if Gio Bernard has a lot of those catches.
You know what I'm not going to be shocked by? How this Eagle team comes out there flying. They've had they rested all their guys. This is why this team's going to be popping out of their skin.
Jalen Hurts, I said earlier, I want to see rookie Devontae Smith in his first playoff game, Sam.
Yep, they are healthy and they are ready to run. Sing us off, Rex. Sing us off. Run.
Run, Eagles. Run. Way to victory. Beat Tampa Bay. Send Tom home. Thank you very much.
We'll see you in the divisional round. College hoops are next.
Hoodies next week.